Good afternoon, fans, and welcome once again inside the Family Arena. Jason Troop alongside my partner Scott Beatty as we get set for Game 2 of our triple header on the MPBA.com Broadcasting Network. And this is a big one. The Champaign Swarm and the St. Louis River Sharks, both teams jockeying for positioning in the seeding. Playoff implications on the line here today. We've got a fun matchup between a couple of teams that know each other fairly well, and the River Sharks have actually lost twice to the Swarm on the road. Swarm lost their only game here. This is a fun matchup with, literally previewing a playoff implication. There's a lot going on here today. It's going to be a fun one.
There it is. Let's try and bring some clarity to what's going on. If the Swarm win tonight, then they will guarantee themselves at least the number 2 seed in the playoffs. And if they get some help with a Bloomington loss, which, let's face it, that might be unlikely as they're about to tip off with the Chicago Force. But if the Bloomington Flex do lose, then the Swarm get the number 1 seed and they win the whole league. However, if the St. Louis River Sharks here win, then we don't know anything more than what we do. So everything's sort of up for grabs. But if St. Louis, the other thing is if St. Louis wins here, now you go to, if it comes to a tiebreaker with the Champaign Swarm, you got to go to points, I believe, because each team will have won 2 games against each other. So it's all up for grabs. Each team, I'm sure, feels like they can beat the other team. And I'll tell you what, Jason, I've seen both teams play plenty. Both teams, to me, at different times have looked like the best team in the league. And I don't know how to look at this game. I think I would not be surprised by a blowout on either side. I would not be surprised by a 1-possession win from either side.
And the one interesting thing of note as well, the Swarm, this is their final game of the season. This wraps up the regular season. The River Sharks still have a couple more games on the docket as well. That'll be interesting as well. I mean, always that last game of the season, you get that little extra more, a little extra push. Plus, they're going to have a good solid week to 10 days to rest up for the postseason as well. It could be a nice advantage for them as well today.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to look at that. You know, you rest too long, you start to get cold and maybe jittery when you come out for your next game, but you would think 10 days off or whatever it's going to be for the next playoff game would be an advantage for them. Meanwhile, St. Louis still has to play another game, and then they may have to yet play a game against the Gateway Steam. That's a game that has yet to be rescheduled from a snowstorm or something that happened earlier in the year, and the league's waiting to see if it'll be necessary to play that game if it has playoff implications. Right now it looks like it will.
Very well could be necessary. Let's not worry about any of that right now. Let's focus on this game right now. We got about 6 minutes until tip-off. The Sharks and the Swarm getting set to go at it. It's going to be a fun matchup. We'll break it down a little bit more, delve into the numbers a little bit with Scott here as well. It's the River Sharks and the Champaign Swarm coming up after this on the MPBA.com Broadcasting Network.
Out here, there are no cheat codes, no avatars, no magic stars. This does not require an operating system or a username or password. And there will not be better versions of these games coming out next year. There's nothing like the good of sport. This spring, shop the brands you love, plus thousands of items on sale now. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
No more, it's none of my business.
No more, he didn't mean it.
No more, not my problem.
No more, she was flirting with him.
No more, she was asking for it.
No more, boys will be boys.
No more, I'll say something next time.
No more bystanding.
No more ignorance.
No more excuses.
No more.
Back inside the Family Arena, getting set for the marquee matchup here in our triple header on this Sunday afternoon. The Champaign Swarm taking on the St. Louis River Sharks, following the 114-102 Windy City Groove win over the Gateway Steam in the 1 o'clock action. And for the starting lineup, we'll go to Chris D'Aleo, the head coach for the Champaign Swarm, and he puts this starting 5 out on the floor.
Well, he starts with Malcolm Griffin, who's started every game he's played in as he came in late in the season, 6'3", 210. Malcolm Griffin, good scorer, has a good running shot for him and averaging 15.7. Also very good on the defensive end. A little bit foul prone, though. Rashard McGill, an excellent 2-guard, gives you solid minutes, a good floor leader as well. He's averaging nearly 11 points a game. Rob Broughton will play the 3 for Coach D'Aleo. He's averaging just 7 a game, but he's a leading stealer for the Champaign Swarm. And then the big man, Josh Chichester. He's an athlete, folks. He's a former tight end for the University of Louisville and played some professional football as well. You watch him and you know he's a good athlete. Some fundamentals maybe is sort of the rap on him that it need to improve, but he can thunder it down. And then Silas Mills, the big man down low to try and block some shots and get in the way of some guys. And that's the starting 5 for Coach D'Aleo.
On the flip side for the River Sharks, just getting news as well from head coach Al Grushkin that Dwayne Polk will not be here today. He missed the Wednesday game, had limited minutes yesterday, and he will not be here. The bigger reason, more importantly for that, is the lack of numbers for the River Sharks team. They look like they might be running just 8 throughout the course of the game here today. Here's your starting 5, though.
Go on that point. That could be key factors. Both teams played yesterday. They both had to get up and down the floor a lot. Swarm have more arrows there in the quiver and have more legs in, I think.
Sure, we'll keep an eye on that as well, obviously, throughout the course of the contest here. Here's your guards, though, and it starts up top. Jerrold Brooks and Harry Marshall. Quite a combination. Marshall made his debut on Wednesday. He's averaging 9.5 points a game coming in to the contest here tonight. And, of course, Jerrold Brooks, 25 points a game, 5 rebounds per game. He is in range when he walks into the Family Arena to start practice in the mornings. Those are your 2 guards out front, of course, with Terry Evans, your swing player, 6'6", 200-pounder from Wisconsin Green Bay. And then the big boys down low, the size that I think will give Champaign a problem. But, again, they don't run the court that well, although Keith DeWitt pretty good at running the floor. Mark is good, 6'10", 295-pound center out of Benedict College. That's a D2 powerhouse. And, of course, Keith DeWitt, 6'10", 235-pounder from USI. That's a Southern Indiana, 18.5 points, 10 rebounds per game for Keith DeWitt. Certainly a guy that is in the discussion for the MVP in the MPBA this year. Him, Bocott as well, obviously up near the top of the list. But, we'll see how that unfolds. So, again, for the River Sharks, Brooks, Marshall, Evans, Good, and DeWitt. And for the Champaign Swarm, Griffin, McGill, Mills, Broughton, and Chichester. And as you said, I want to go in and talk a little bit more about that, the lack of Dwayne Polk here. That really hurts the River Sharks against the Swarm, a team that really pressures a lot. Polk is a guard, 5'9", 180. He's a leader. He's obviously a former St. Louis Billiken for here in the area. He is one of the guys that can handle the rock. He's one of those guys that's not going to panic when you see all the pressure being thrown at you all over the floor that the Swarm are going to do. So that's a big loss, not only because not only because that drops you from 9 players. Not only is he a big loss because he is a guard that won't be able to play, but it drops you from 9 to 8 players and really sacrifices the depth of the River Sharks, and they don't have a whole lot of depth.
And the way the Swarm attack the rack, a lot of big men can get in foul trouble pretty quick.
We'll see what happens tonight. It's the Swarm and the River Sharks coming right at you after this.
How many brackets you filling out?
There's nothing wrong with filling out multiple brackets.
Yeah, it cheapens the bracket.
It does not cheapen the bracket. If anything, it helps you prepare for any scenario. Like, maybe a 1 seed wins it all this year. Ooh, what a shocker. Boom, there it is.
Cheapens the bracket.
But maybe a 16 seed beats a 1 seed, which has never happened before. But maybe I have it right here.
Cheapens the bracket.
Maybe you should get on board with my foolproof system, man.
What, the cheapens the bracket system?
Buffalo Wild Wings, 21 sauces and seasonings, tons of taps, and countless flat screens. Nowhere is sports more alive.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
Breathe. Fill a bit here.
We are never moving to the suburbs.
We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got.
Back inside the family arena, Jason Troop alongside Scott Beatty, and we are ecstatic to bring you this matchup between the Champaign Swarm at 15-4, the St. Louis River Sharks 13-4. We've talked all about it in the pregame, the implications for the postseason. Each team with their eye on the top spot, and the reason that's such an important seed to get, we discussed this a bit yesterday. If you can get that top spot, you're going to play a team that is significantly under 500. I mean, significantly under 500.
Yeah, it'll be, well, at this point, it's Gateway Steam or the Windy City Groove, and Windy City Groove thought they were left for dead here in their season, but they pulled out the win here today. They may still get in there. They'll have to snake bite somebody else to get in that fourth seed.
Maybe the best team, most consistent best team all year long, maybe it would be the Flex. They're going to have to knock them off in order to sneak in there. Yeah. Somebody's going to have to get that fourth spot in the playoffs. Somebody's going to have to get it. Whoever wants to step up and take it is going to get it.
At times it looks like nobody won it.
Exactly. Again, your starting five is we get set for tip-off here for the Swarm. It's going to be Griffin, McGill, Mills, Broughton, and Chichester. And for the River Sharks, you'll see Brooks, Marshall, Evans, Good, and DeWitt. One thing of note, I got to ask you a little bit about Avery Smith, who's in the starting lineup yesterday for the Swarm. And not that it really matters, I guess, for Chris D'Aleo, who starts, but Smith was in the starting lineup last night. Is everything all right with him?
As far as I know, yes, but here's why I don't think it matters, because this is the 16th different starting lineup that Coach D'Aleo has
and
used.
We're playing game number 20.
Yeah, so who starts is almost meaningless for Coach D'Aleo. Sometimes it's to send a message. Sometimes it's matchups. Sometimes he tells you he's picking them out of a hat. Well, he's never that capricious, but Avery Smith will get plenty of playing time.
I mean, Aaron Weaver's the third leading scorer in the MPBA, and he's on the bench to start it off on this one. You know what I mean?
He's only had 4 starts, so everybody rotates in and out. I won't be surprised to see somebody subbing in within the first 2 minutes, especially if Coach D'Aleo doesn't like something he sees.
They get only 8 players dressed for the River Sharks. Other than the starting 5, you got Kenny McGowan, James Hicks, and Terry Leak coming off the bench for St. Louis. Swarm has, they've got their full slate of guys over there as well.
Yeah, they are. The only player that they do not have is Jordan Walker, who's a good defender, so that's a loss for them.
Isaac McClure and Philip Gilbert for the River Sharks. Neither are here tonight, nor is Dwayne Polk, one of the starting guards. Just had a son the other day, Dwayne Jr.
That seems to be going around. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to you, sir, as well.
Thank you very much. Darrell Robinson, by the way, the Steam head coach, is expecting a son in July. That time of the year, I guess, huh?
Something in the water down here.
There is, but I don't know what it is.
I'll explain to you later what it is.
You're in town. I'm used to it. Let's get to the action on the floor, and there's a jump shot from McGill that wouldn't go, rebounded by the River Sharks. That's Marcus Good, and if the River Sharks have an advantage, it's going to be in the half-court sets with Good and DeWitt down on the post. And if they can't take advantage of that and get out of these traps, then it should be a long day. Kicked into the corner, wide open shot. That's Jerrold Brooks. Can't leave him open, and he buries the triple. All he's doing is hitting 52.6% of his three-point shots.
So good.
Don't know why he's still here. I'm sure he'll finish out the regular season here and then try to find a job overseas as a travel is noticed on the near side, and the Swarm turn it over.
Last time these two teams met here in St. Charles, Missouri, the St. Louis River Sharks absolutely smacked the Swarm around. They just rolled to it. They scored 43 points in that opening quarter, and they went on to a 113-89 win. Didn't even feel that close.
Evans skip pass. That's Good with a 3-ball from the left wing. No good. And the 295-pound center just missing the triple from distance there.
I'm guessing that's was not called in that play, but.
And great defense on the other end by Good as well, deflecting a pass, and eventually it was knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Chichester. There's a skip pass, didn't get over anybody. Not a good idea on the inbound play there. Back the other direction, down the lane goes Robert Broughton, and he lays it in with the left.
Good to see Rob Broughton making an aggressive move there to put the Swarm on the board.
Harry Marshall's going to run the point when he's on the floor with Jerrold Brooks. Brooks the better scorer of the two, although he's controlled the point guard duties for really since he came over in place of Dwayne Polk, again, who's not here tonight, which we talked about in the open. Should be something to keep an eye on. There's a lob down low to DeWitt, and he's way up top right now. Trying to cut to the rack, a little wraparound pass to Good. Head and shoulder fake, got his defender up in the air. Couldn't hit the jump shot from right in front, but does draw the foul ahead of the line.
Well, Keith DeWitt is is quick. He's certainly quicker than Silas Mills. Beat him off the dribble there. And Chichester got the sort of the ticky-tack foul. You've got to really bother Marcus Good if you're going to get in his way.
It was fun watching the flex when they came back in town here with Good, battling down low with the Sallies and the Slacks.
And I had the pleasure of watching that same matchup in Bloomington. River Sharks came away with it.
Pass up top to Griffin, down the lane, little right-handed floater. That's not going to go. Rebound knocked up in the air, controlled by the Swarm. Put it up and in, count it, and a one. As Chichester will head to the free throw line to finish off the old-school three-point play. DeWitt picking up the foul, his first.
Again, I think the advantage here, the more fouls that the Swarm can draw out of Keith DeWitt and Marcus Good, the better off they are. I think Keith DeWitt is the more foul-prone post player, though.
One thing that you will see head coach Al Grush can do when you get Good or DeWitt in trouble is go to his bench and bring in James Hicks, who is not a tremendous offensive player, but at 6'7", 2 1/4, he has really shown some solid defensive skills. A guy that Al Grushkin knows well from his Indiana Tech days.
See there again, they see DeWitt as it's a mismatch on Silas Mills.
And yeah, there's nobody on the floor for the Swarm that can handle Keith DeWitt. He's too quick, too big.
Yeah, and to be fair to Silas Mills, there's not really anybody in the league that can handle Keith DeWitt very well. But I think right away they're keying in that Silas Mills, he's foul prone, he's a little bit slower than DeWitt, and even if DeWitt doesn't get the bucket, he's going to go to the line.
Keith DeWitt, another one of those Eagles from Southern Indiana.
There seems to be a connection here.
The Carolina guy. Lived in High Point for a while. He and I kind of hit it off right away. A lot of connections there to my days in the Carolinas and Evansville.
High Point University, huh?
Go Panthers. HPU. DeWitt getting the offensive rebound, knocked out of his hands, but right to Terry Evans it goes. He twists at the free throw line and it kicks it back up top to Harry Marshall, who's going to lob it down low to DeWitt again. Out on the perimeter, DeWitt again with Chichester on him. In some trouble trying to turnaround shot. That's not going to go. It was knocked out of bounds by the Swarm. 10 seconds left on the shot clock.
And see right there, they're already putting Chichester on DeWitt. They're seeing the mismatch as well on the Swarm end. And now Live and Pyfrom coming in to get Silas Mills. I think they want the more veteran legs on it.
Inbounded to DeWitt. He'll throw it up top to Marshall. 7 seconds left. Trying to find Brooks, I'm sure. He's got the basketball. He'll shake his defender. The left-hander launches the triple. No good. Weak side rebound by DeWitt, and he puts it right back up off the window and in. Never brought the ball down low to his waist. Kept it up high and banked it off the glass. 6-5. River Sharks leading the Swarm here early stages of the first quarter, and a whistle blows far side. I think a player stepped on the sideline and turned it over.
Yep, that's not a good turnover here.
Silas Mills at about a 3-second break. He's back in as Live and Pyfrom checks back out.
I think it was a little offense for defense there.
Nice job by Marshall. Now he bounces the pass to DeWitt on the right block. Out to Brooks. Wide open. 3-ball on the way. Buried it. I mean, the guy's shooting 52%, 53% from three-point land.
You know, a lot of guys you could say just let him go because he'll cool off. Jerrold Brooks won't. He'll shoot that all day.
Yeah, they've been waiting for him to cool off all year. There's a jump shot from the corner himself, a 2-ball from Broughton.
Rob Broughton's shooting percentage climbing here in his last few games. He's starting to shoot a lot better from the outside.
A little more confident. Watch the trap along the sideline. In some trouble. That's Terry Evans, but he finds Brooks. Now back out to DeWitt. DeWitt around a couple defenders. There's the bounce pass to Good. Right underneath. Puts it up off the window and in. Nice adjustment as well. He had a hand in his face. It looked like Silas Mills trying on for the swat.
Game plan's pretty simple here for the River Sharks, isn't it? Feed it to Good and DeWitt down low or let Jerrold Brooks shoot it up.
There's a foul on Keith DeWitt. Not a good one. He doesn't like it either.
That's his second. They're going to get him out now.
Here comes Terry Leak. I caught Alvin by surprise yesterday when I threw out Terry Leak playing at Delta State for the Fighting Okra.
You and I talked about that in previous. That is one of the better names.
Saved in bounds. Nice job by Marshall.
They're officially the Statesmen, right?
Right, officially the Statesmen. But nobody calls them the Statesmen. They're the Fighting Okras. And why would you call the Statesmen when you got the Okras right there? All right, Terry Evans up top. Back to Brooks. Looking for Good. He's got that outside shot as well, and that's what makes him such a tough matchup is if you back off of him, and then he'll go ahead and take that shot. There it is right there, a little fadeaway. Couldn't get it to go. A rebound pulled down by Broughton. And back the other direction go the Swarm. That's McGill with the basketball between the rings. He'll set up the offense. Looking for the high post of Pyfrom. Instead, down it goes to Chichester along the baseline. He'll skip a pass across the court to the other side. Tipped out of bounds. Nicely defended there by St. Louis.
Good to see Terry Leak back on the court, though, because had a scare leaving in an ambulance, right?
Yeah.
Was it last game?
A couple games ago.
A couple games ago, not yesterday. Everybody thought he had broken a leg. Turns out it was just a deep bruise. He was back on the floor next day.
Nice inbound play there. Got to watch the man who puts the inbound, who triggers the inbound. They did not. And Broughton gets the slop on the weak side and puts it off the window and in. 11-9, River Sharks leading the Champaign Swarm.
Same as yesterday. Rob Broughton bringing some quality minutes here in the opening of the game.
12 seconds on the shot clock. It's into the corner now. 3 ball on the way from Terry Evans. That's not going to go. A bit too strong, and McGill controls the rebound. There's a take to the rack, a late pass along the baseline jump shot. That's it as well.
Wow.
Rob Broughton again.
He is not on the floor for his offense, so this is gravy here, and he's scored 8 points for the Swarm to tie this game up.
Tied at 11 with 7:07 left here in the first. Brooks trying to shake his man down, lost the dribble. Has to pick it back up again, and now a ball, I guess, hit the sideline out of bounds, and they're going to give it back over to the Swarm.
Yeah, you got to win those 50-50 balls in a game like this.
Swarm look like they want to make a change here as well as Aaron Weaver wants to check in.
They better hurry up or they're going to delay a game.
I don't know who it is. Let's get a little hustle going on here, huh?
Referees are being a little lenient, and the Swarm benefiting from that.
Nobody knew who he was coming in for. We're all straight now.
Well, you don't normally bring in a guard for a center, but the Swarm going a little smaller here. They just got a lot quicker, though, with Aaron Weaver.
Nice spin move right there by Chichester.
Boy, for people that say Josh Chichester doesn't have good fundamentals, whatever, he figures out how to score.
Yeah, I heard you passing that along too earlier tonight. I was not dissatisfied by his fundamentals yesterday. I think he's got a pretty good shot. He's got some quick feet. I mean, he's an athlete. There's no doubt about it. There's Marcus Good going to work on the block again.
And I tell you what, Marcus Good is also an athlete.
Yes.
He doesn't look like it, does he?
Guy who was drafted in the D League by the Bay Sox and then. First game out.
Bayhawks. Right?
Bayhawks, yeah, broke his hand.
Chichester's dropped 25 yesterday off the bench.
Nice move to the paint that time, but nothing doing there as it's knocked away, and Terry Leak with the basketball. Ahead it goes to Brooks. Weak side, he's got Marshall. He saw him for a moment, couldn't get around his defender. Now kicked into the corner to Marshall. Extra pass up top, good. He thought about another 3-ball. Instead, hands it off to Evans. Racing to the rack, and it was knocked out of his hands. A reach-in foul called. They're going to get, who was that? Rashard McGill. No, pardon me, Weaver, 25.
Swarm doing a good job getting back on defense. They committed the foul there.
And I know I touched on this a little bit yesterday. That's the fun thing about watching the River Sharks. They can play really any style of basketball out there. They can play the half court. They can run it with you. They're not as good as the Swarm are in that in-your-face defense, but they can play a lot of styles of basketball. That's what makes them a fun team to watch as well. We're going to step aside. It's all tied up at a baker's dozen. 5:58 on the clock, first quarter.
Set them free.
Knotted up at 13 apiece, 5:58 on the clock, first quarter action here in Game 2 of our doubleheader here at the Family Arena, tripleheader on the MPBA.com Broadcasting Network. We'll check out the early score in the Flex game, Flex and the Groove. Pardon me, Flex and the Force going at it today. Inbounded to Kenny McGowan, who just checked in. He's a Texas guy. Lazy pass knocked away by Malcolm Griffin. The other direction he goes, trying to pick it off from the backside is Terry Leak, and big mistake there for McGowan, who just checked in.
Third lead change already.
15-13. Swarm have it. Yeah, I mean, I do not expect any sort of a blowout like we did last time. I really think it's going to be a close contest, really throughout. Marcus Good with it, trying to shake and bake down the lane. Couldn't get the right-handed runner to go.
But yet all three games have been fairly lopsided.
It's strange, isn't it? It doesn't make any sense. There's a ball drops down, and now a little push. Extra push by Chichester underneath. I don't know what that was not needed for any reason, and I think he pushed McGowan after it. And they're going to tee him up for it, and as they should.
Got to be careful.
Just a bit frustrated and gave it. It wasn't anything, erratic or anything like that, but just, you can't shove another player. You can't shove him needlessly after the basket was made. To the free throw line, Jerrold Brooks.
He's one of the best in the business at shooting unguarded from 15 feet.
I mean, he's shooting 53% unguarded from distance.
You just can't give anybody anything free in this game.
So Brooks knocks down the technical free throw, and the River Sharks will inbound it from their end of the floor. Swarm haven't put on that full court pressure yet. There's McGowan driving, kicking. That's good along the baseline. He can shoot that if he wants, but he's got Pyfrom in front of him. He's going to try to work it on the smaller Pyfrom.
Both
not from
with
a height
D-League
standpoint.
Experience there.
Yeah.
Those big centers.
Missed his shot back the other direction. That's a Weaver, and a blocking foul call down low on Kenny McGowan.
So that's one thing there, why Aaron Weaver there, he was basically 1-on-3, but he's so fast he can draw the foul and just outrun everybody in the gym, even a Kenny McGowan who's really fast.
Common foul. It will inbound it just to my left. Broughton will trigger it. Coming around the screen, that's Rashard McGill. Pyfrom with it at the high post. That's a St. Ford he just handed it off to, trying to get to the lane. That's a St. Ford. His shot's not going to go. Missed by a mile, but was fouled by Terry Leak.
Mark St. Fort usually gets the start. We mentioned the mixing up of the starting lineups, but Mark St. Fort's usually in that starting five coming off the bench here today. I think Coach Dalio wanted all the height he could get early on, but Mark St. Fort plays tall for a 6'7", 6'8" guy.
Nice to see these two teammates kind of jockeying back and forth. The former teammates, Rashard McGill and Jerrold Brooks, both Southern Miss products. Brooks wasn't there his whole time. He finished off his career at the University of Southern Miss. Started out going to the College of Southern Idaho.
The same with Rashard McGill. He was at Iona at one point, and then Tallahassee Community College.
Yeah, Brooks left Southern Idaho for Casper College, which is up in Wyoming. Nice steal there by the Swarm. That's Broughton with the quick hands. Ahead it goes to McGill to the rim, and he lays it off the window and in. Swarm going on a bit of a run here. Now 19-14 the lead with 4:24 left. And here comes some full court pressure. Now they're going to back it off.
There's nearly a goaltend there, but it didn't matter.
Brooks fires it into the corner to Marcus Good with Pythrom's long arms right in his face. Good wants to take it right to him. Dishes off the pass, and Evans just got clotheslined and hit in the face. You can see him just tagged, and he's hurting.
Yeah, and Mark St. Fort is immediately right there saying,
it wasn't on purpose, yeah. He just kind of got clotheslined and dropped back to the floor. I mean, you can see the lower part of his body kept on running, and he stopped.
Yeah, you might not be looking at it. Might be like the bridge of his nose or an eyeball. We mentioned they can ill afford to lose anybody.
Yeah, only dressing 8 tonight anyway. And we'll have to see what's going on. They're checking on him down below. We'll step aside here for a moment. It is 19-14 with 4:08 on the clock here in the first quarter. Wishing all the best to Terry. We'll be back.
Out here, there are no cheat codes, no avatars, no magic stars. This does not require an operating system or a username or password. And there will not be better versions of these games coming out next year. There's nothing like the good of sport. This spring, shop the brands you love, plus thousands of items on sale now. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
Back inside the family arena, Terry Evans walking off the floor, as you might be able to see, kind of holding a little bit of a gauze pad just to near his left eye there, and certainly was dripping some blood. They had to check that out as well, and the great staff at ATI are on top of it right now. So keep an eye on what's going on with Terry. But again, as we said, not only do the Champaign Swarm.
Now there's a rule here that there's 30 seconds to take care of
blood.
Take care of blood.
Mm-hmm. And right now, here's what's going on. Marcus Good has a little cut on his forearm right now. Then they need to try to wrap that up and keep it from bleeding too much. And right now, ref comes over and is talking with Al Grushkin, and I was like, I don't have anybody else to put in there right now. We got 30 seconds to take care of this blood. They're going to take as much of that 30 seconds as they can. They're keeping an eye on that clock over there to our right. But Good looks like he's got that wrapped up and under control right now. The big question is, how is Terry Evans? So he's trying to
can Terry Evans get through a game here without, I'm just not familiar with that 30-second rule. As Marcus Good does have some blood on his jersey, but they sprayed the whatever on there, I guess, to neutralize the blood.
They spray, I can't remember what they use.
Some sort of sanitizer, obviously. Or
ammonia. A lot of times they use ammonia. Kind of kills everything that's on there.
Oh, I thought that was just a horse that was in the arena.
Here we go, McGowan. Speaking of horses, the Texas kid launches the triple. No good, though. Offensive rebound by Good. He had it, lost it off his leg, and it's going to go back to the Champaign team. 19-14 your score. Well, Swarm leading it, under 4 minutes left in the first.
That bread was already buttered there from Marcus Good if he just holds onto that basketball.
Careful when you're talking about buttered bread around Mr. Good.
I don't know why it's that.
6'10", 300 pounds. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Malcolm Griffin trying to shake his way to the rack. Instead, he's going to back it out and hands it off to Weaver. Weaver around the screen trying to take it to the hoop himself, and there's Hicks. Just swatted away.
Solid, clean block by James Hicks, and you mentioned his ability to come off and contribute well.
Especially on the defensive end. Swarm will trigger the inbound and is swatted away again. Leak is trying to argue that it's his basketball, but no, he knocked it out.
8 seconds left in the shot clock, and by the way, Avery Smith now in the ball game for the Swarm. He's their three-point threat.
Inbounded quickly, that's Griffin. 5 seconds now on the shot clock. He's going to rise, fire the shot, hits the front of the iron. Weak side rebound being battled for, finally controlled. Good, hands it off to Brooks. Jerrold across the timeline, far side of the floor. Every time he nears that outer arc, you think he's going to launch a shot. Crosses over again this time, now kicks it out to the right side. Rising, firing, three ball buried. Terry Leak with a triple.
Well, that's a great awareness by Jerrold Brooks as the Swarm attacked sort of the strong side there, and they just swung it out.
Tell you what, Champaign is trying to attack the paint right now. I would as well. Now a whistle blows away from the play. That's a 3-second violation on defense, as Marcus Good was just kind of standing around lost in the paint. Timeout taken with 2:58 left in the first period, 19-17. It's the Swarm on top of the River Sharks.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
Breathe. A little bit here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got, set them free at the break of dawn, till one by one they were gone, floating in the summer sky.
We've got a good one brewing this afternoon. 19-17, the Champaign Swarm visiting the St. Louis River Sharks with the early lead in this one. These two teams very familiar with each other, each holding serve on their home floor. And as a matter of fact, the River Sharks haven't lost on this floor ever. They are 11-0 on this court.
Swarm went 9-1 at home. They're trying to go 7-3 on games away from Champaign, Illinois.
At the free throw line, shot up and no good for Malcolm Griffin after the defensive violation before the timeout.
And hats off to the Swarm in that they've had to play 7 of 10 games away from the road in the second half of the season, away from Champaign. Schedule didn't do them any favors that way.
Working out pretty well now for the River Sharks from a scheduling standpoint, as that shot was missed. They were away from here for about a month, but are going to finish with four home games. Bounce pass down low, they go to Hicks. Hicks trying to force his way in. Turnaround jump shot, that's not going to go good. Had the rebound in his hands and just couldn't squeeze it. Back the other direction go the Swarm. Cross-court pass, far side, that's Griffin with it. Trying to cross over, go baseline. Hicks, nice job to cut that off. Now the throw right there to Pyfrom. He can't get the shot to go good. Was right there with a deflection. Now Brooks skies in to snag the loose ball.
Great find by Malcolm Griffin, just not quite aggressive enough by Liven Pyfrom.
Marshall in trouble, splits the double team and finds Brooks open for the three-pointer from 90 feet away, it seems.
Alert the media, Jerrold Brooks just missed a three-pointer.
Right. 2:10 on the clock here in the first. Still a 2-point lead for the Swarm. Weaver out of North Park walks it across the center stripe. Looking for the high screen from Chichester down the lane. He goes, and Marcus Good with a clean. I thought it was a clean block, and they whistled him for the foul.
I agree with your partner. I thought he got it all, but
that's one of those where you anticipate the foul, so you go ahead and start blowing the whistle, I think.
Aaron Weaver's so quick. Sometimes that's maybe the benefit there too. He creates the illusion.
I don't know. I'd have to see that illusion on the replay again. I think it might have been pretty clean there by Mr. Good. Shot missed a bit short there by Weaver on the first of two.
Justice served perhaps, but
the basketball gods speaking maybe. Both teams in the bonus for the final 2 minutes of the period. Next free throw on the way. He got 1 of 2. Terry Evans, by the way, still on the bench. Getting looked at over there.
That's a big problem for the River Sharks.
Got to battle through adversity if you want to set yourself up for a nice playoff run, that's for sure. Good with the basketball. Back in Chichester down. He's too far down low. Throws up the shot. Won't go. Rebound. Put back. Not going to go. Good. Stayed with it, though, and finally got it to drop.
Hey, padding the offensive rebound stats.
17.5 points, 8.4 rebounds a game for Marcus Good. Shovel the pass ahead. Nice head and shoulder fake there by Chichester to get to the rack, and he drew the foul from Terry Leak. Second one on him.
Pardon me, partner. Again, with only 7 players, you're talking about adversity, 7 or 8 players. Maybe Terry Evans can come back. We don't know. Or Terry Leak, I beg your pardon. But
you're right the first time.
Yeah,
41.
I'm all thrown
just
off
Terry.
by my Terrys.
It's the Terrys. I mean, and they're both pretty similar looking on the floor, too. Both 6'6".
If I just said Terry, everybody would have thought I was brilliant there, right?
That's the way to go, Terry. One went to UW Green Bay. The other, as we talked about, Fighting Okra.
But you were saying fight through adversity. At some point, it doesn't feel like adversity. It feels it's just unfair.
That's true. We did have a bunch of we had a couple of youth teams playing between the games here. We might have to go snag that that big Bryant Reeves-looking young man that was playing.
Sign him up.
Absolutely. Although it'd get rid of his, he wouldn't be able to play in college anymore.
Worth it.
I don't know. The NCAA makes up rules as they go along anyway, so I'm sure it'd be all right.
Pardon the interruption continues.
I mean, it's a show I haven't seen for a while. I love the show, but there's no more wishy-washy group of people than those in charge of the NCAA, that's for sure. Head to the free throw line, Jerrold Brooks. Not a bad free throw shooter, 83%. And you know what? It's just an observation that I'm picking up on here today and over the course of the season. But you look at some of the top players in this league in the MPBA, top scorers in this league. most of them are left-handed.
Yeah, Justin Bocott, Nate Fuqua, Jerrold Brooks. Something there about it.
There's a couple other pretty good scores.
And you would think it benefits the defender.
Wide open three ball from the corner. Malcolm Griffin couldn't hit the shot, and the rebound picked up by Brooks. He's going to run the floor. Man to his left. He gives it up. Now up and under. Shot wouldn't go. Tip back wouldn't go. That's Hicks with the rebound underneath. He has it stripped away. Rips the basketball back, though, trying to save it in bounds on the far side. That was Avery Smith, and they're going to keep the basketball with the River Sharks. My goodness.
It's a great basketball game, a great quarter here so far.
Yeah, two teams fairly evenly matched, and for the first time, as you alluded to earlier, playing like they're evenly matched. It is rather odd that in the 3 games between these two teams, with the records as such and the skill level on the floor is such that all of them have been blowouts. There's a little poke from the backside and an easy layup on the other end for Malcolm Griffin. River Sharks uncharacteristically have committed a couple of lazy turnovers at the top.
And game way it's going around feels like every possession's really big. What a block there by Chichester.
Back the other direction go the Swarm. Griffin gives it up, 3 ball on the way from Smith. I didn't like that one. It wasn't set for it when he got it. Saved there by Good to Brooks.
He is not afraid to shoot any time, though. He's kind of like Jerrold Brooks in that way. However, Jerrold Brooks has the best accuracy in the league.
DeWitt just took his warm-up off. Wonder if he'll check in here shortly. Good. It's going to launch the 3 ball again. Buried it! And the big man stood there statuesque after he hit it as well.
Hey, might as well admire the piece of art.
Good. Actually a 28% shooter from behind the arc coming into the game here tonight, and that'll take us to the end of the first. The 3 ball for Marcus Good tied us up at 23. That's where we are after 1. Come on back to the second quarter. Knotted up at 23 as we get set for the second quarter. Update for you on Terry Evans. Went over to check on him, and right now he's got a bag of ice just above his bridge of his nose, near his eye, and so far it's they're not saying he's not coming back in. Certainly if he can get that swelling down and everything else, you very well might see Terry Evans back out on the floor.
And they need everybody.
And they need it. You got that right.
They need everybody they can get, and hopefully he's all right.
And again, no Dwayne Polk here today as well for the River Sharks. Terry Evans out with that injury. Philip Gilbert not here. Isaac McClure as well. So an 8 people dressed for Al Grushkin today. Down to 7 with the injury to Terry Evans. Checking him going through the concussion protocol right now to my left.
As we start the second quarter, the ball belongs to your River Sharks.
Have to test him out for that and see if he can come back in. Back to the action here. Harry Marshall gives up the basketball. Look at that dart of a pass down low to DeWitt. He couldn't finish it off, but was fouled in the process and head to the free throw line. What a pass from Malik from the hash mark on the far side of the floor to the near side block for DeWitt. To the free throw line, Keith DeWitt.
Who's it on?
Let me get that foul on.
Malcolm Griffin is second. Now the lead changes again for the 4th time.
DeWitt still dealing with that left wrist. As you can see, it's been taped up for the last month or so. Next one is up and good as well. And it's the River Sharks on top by a couple here. Early stages of the second. Malcolm Griffin between the rings now, looking for a high post. Instead, he's going to bounce it to Chichester. Handing it off to Smith, looking to get it back to Chichester. Chester's going to set the screen. Now a double team along the baseline. Avery Smith just floats one towards the rim. Nothing there. Ball being knocked around. It's finally into the hands of Broughton. His shot up, no good. Good's going to tip it ahead to Jerrold Brooks, who races up the floor. Eyes at the back of his head, does Brooks right there as he avoids a steal attempt from behind. And now a foul going to be noticed down low as Keith DeWitt was trying to go baseline. And they're going to get number 50. That's Chichester. That's 3 on Chichester. Oh, pardon me. I've got 3 on Chichester. What do you have?
I have 2. The technical.
Yes.
Didn't count on the personal.
Another one poked away. Quick hands again by the Swarm. Back the other direction, trying to get the steal as well. That's Harry Marshall. Now the behind-the-back pass. Not a good idea. Out of bounds, far side. It'll stay with the River Sharks. Should stay with the River Sharks. Unless they
No, it was off of 23.
Oh, was it deflected?
Off,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
His behind-the-back pass was off of Marshall.
And they'll inbound it in the far corner. That's Rob Broughton to trigger it. Gets it in quickly to Griffin. Trying to cut to his right. Griffin to the rack, going back underneath and throw through the basketball off the body of Terry Leak, and it'll stay with the Swarm. Heads up play there by Griffin as he was losing control of the basketball on his way to the rack.
Good awareness. Swarm not getting the inbound plays they want.
Bounced into Chichester. His shot not going to go. Not with a veteran good right there. Guarding the doorstep. Up the sideline. Brooks stepped on the sideline and turned it over.
Either that or was it Leak that had a piece of it?
On the far side over there. Not sure what happened on that. The only thing I can think of is he stepped on a sideline. I didn't see a foul called.
I'm saying this is. Oh, yeah, it was definitely an out-of-bounds play.
And Al Grushkin working the official on the near side as well. Wanting the push called. Boy, they are being really, they're letting it all slide. These are the latest changes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The substitutions.
I'm surprised the Swarm haven't gotten called for delay of game yet.
At least twice. And that's the second time right there.
And both of the times it's been with the involved Live and Piper.
He needs to liven it up a little bit then. I had to.
Jason
Griffin.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Left
this is
wing.
free. This is free, too.
Yes, and in high def. Swarm with the offensive rebound again. That's Richard McGill with the basketball being picked up by Jerrold Brooks. And now a pass down to the left block. Up top again it goes. Thought about firing off the shot to McGill. Instead he'll get it right back.
Swarm not moving here right now, and that's costing.
Standing around, yep. Harry Marshall with the basketball. Kicks it out to Good. He just hit a 3-ball from there. Let's try it again. Why not? Nope, not good. Last shot, he turns around and looks at head coach Al Grush and says, that's the last time I'm doing that. Last shot, that's what he just said. Last time he's going to attempt a 3. The veteran's already yelling at the coach, let him know, I'm not going to do that again, before the coach even has a chance to tell him not to do it again.
He could be coaching as well. He's got good awareness.
Going to ask for a timeout near side. Head coach Grushkin wants to call it. This is a lot slower back and forth second period here. I mean, it's 25-23. This is a college score, if you will, at this point in time. Hey, we got a lot of time left, folks. 9:42 left. It's the River Sharks on top of the Swarm. Just a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it right here.
The Champaign Swarm and their business partners have made this season of professional basketball in the community successful. The Swarm organization salutes outstanding local companies for their loyal support, like Atlanta Bread Company, Baymont Inn, Carl Sports Medicine, and the Champaign Park District.
(25-23), River Sharks with the 2-point lead. Keeping an eye on another game in progress right now up in Bloomington. The Flex hosting the Chicago Force. Right now it's 25-19. Both the games tipping at about 4 o'clock, and now timeout is.
Oh, an 8-second violation.
8-second violation.
Boy, that was not. There was no awareness that what they didn't realize after the timeout, you'd already lost a few seconds, and the timeout was called while they were in the back court.
Right. Had they gotten to the front court and then inbounded into the back court, they would have reset that 8-second clock.
So, part of that's on Al Grushkin for not calling the
All
timeout
of that's
after.
on Al Grushkin, I think. You got to call the timeout after you gain the timeline. That's standard procedure there. The players got to know as well, but you got to come out of the timeout knowing that, and I don't think anybody realized that, including myself, coming out of that timeout. Kicked into the corner. There's a baseline drive by Broughton trying to get to the rack. Nice job by DeWitt to stuff it.
What a great second effort there by Broughton, because DeWitt did bother that first shot. He got a block there.
There's a shot quickly at the other end. Harry Marshall, not sure what he was hurrying that one for. Back the other direction. Look at that pass down low. Swatted away, though, and that's Marshall again. He's going to race up the floor. Got a man to his left. Instead, he's going to leave it to Jerrold Brooks. Brooks right back to Marshall. He's going to skip the pass across to DeWitt, who slings it to the far side. Leak pulls up baseline. That's not going to do it. He lost the handle on it. Back the other direction goes McGill. A couple of Southern Miss players going at it right there, man on man, and so far nothing for it.
There's not enough urgency right there for the Swarm. Griffin has to hit this.
No, missed it. Rebound pulled down by Weaver. Turns in the lane. His shot not going to go, and it's going to stay on this end for the Champaign Swarm. Tied up at 25-25, and these two teams look like they're playing in sand right now.
Well, both of them played yesterday, and I think the legs are not at 100%. You can already hands on Himps. Remember, the Swarm have the advantage. They can add more players into the mix. The River Sharks playing with, well, I think they're back at 8 now.
Haven't seen Evans back on the floor yet, but he is back on the bench, looking like he is ready to go in.
But Keith DeWitt just picked up his 3rd foul. That's big.
You'll see Hicks checking in here shortly. Oh, no, here comes Terry Evans. Good to see.
Looks like he got a couple stitches there. Or some of that
those
fancy
butterfly bandages,
yeah.
He'll check in after the shot here from Josh Chichester. He's a Louisville guy. Did you ever see the final? What the final score in that Louisville?
Michigan State won, is what I know.
Okay.
So 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four. For all the, it seems like that every year. Sometimes the years.
Oh, the ACC is the best. The ACC is the best, and nobody's there. Or I know what you mean.
Yeah, I think
the Big 12 was
up
the
and
everyone
down.
loved the
Probably
Big 12
the ACC
this year.
is, or the whoever is probably better than the Big Ten. But somehow, teams Bo Ryan and Tom Izzo especially know how to get their guys to the Final Four.
That's so you got to look at it. Got to look at the coaches when you're filling out your brackets. I don't think Izzo has lost in the first round in like 40 years. He's only been coaching for 20. There's Marcus Good way out on the perimeter again. He's going to drive into the paint, hang in the air for a moment. Couldn't hit the shot, though, and the rebound right in front there by Chichester. Now the whistle's going to blow, and a foul going to be noticed on the other side. That's Champaign a foul on Chichester.
Yeah, and he better be careful with his argument because he already has a technical.
I believe that's now 3 for Chichester.
Yep. But he was pretty indignant there, and you just have to be careful.
Maybe the football and him coming out a little bit. 26-25, it's a Swarm with a lead.
And perhaps in his former league, he's not used to the same officiating.
Nice steal again by the Swarm. That's Broughton the other direction, and he flushed it.
Malcolm Griffin finishing, but Rob Broughton doing all the little things right now for the Swarm. He's going to be unsung a bit in the stat sheet.
McGowan with the basketball now. Faked the pass off to his right. Everybody fell for it, but he couldn't control the basketball, and it rolled out of bounds far side of the floor. Turned it back over. Now Grushkin wants another timeout. He's going to need to use those timeouts to keep his guys fresh throughout the course of the game. I'll tell you that much as well. 7:51 left in the second quarter. It's 28-25. Swarm with the lead. Back with more after this. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. With assistance from their business partners, the Champaign Swarm have made year one and the success of the community. The Swarm organization salutes these outstanding local companies for their support: Addie's Bar and Grill, Country Squire Cleaners, County Market, and Flooring Surfaces.
76-70 the final in that Michigan State-Louisville game.
And a nylon all twisted up on one end of the floor here, so they'll Have to, just go get, you don't need a ladder. You just get Marcus Good, who does it from his toes. He doesn't even have to leave the floor to pull the nylon down.
I'm not sure if I could get to the nylon right now.
What a luxury.
Well, it's a luxury when you're playing basketball. I mean, I can't imagine it's fun finding a bed to sleep in when you're traveling on the road, or a shower that you don't have to squat in.
Or a bus.
Or a bus. I can't imagine. That's brutal. Back to the contest on the floor here. Pass up top to McGill. He'll swing it near side Griffin. Trying to get around a screen. He'll rise and fire, and no good. Coming in for the rebound, Terry Evans. So right back into the mix again.
Griffin's outside shot's just not been there today.
Jerrold Brooks. He'll bounce it to Marcus Good, who kicks it up top to Evans. One more pass. McGowan wide open. He could shoot it from three land. Missed it, though. Was knocked down to the floor. Was maybe playing a possum a little bit, trying to get a call. There's a spot-up jumper from about 5 feet. Nothing doing there. Now up top it goes. Passing up the shot. That was Weaver. He was bumped by McGowan, who picks up the foul. And McGowan's going to say, how come it wasn't called on me? And now he's going to pick up the tech. He was still frustrated about not getting the call on his shot on the other end.
McGowan said something that the official didn't like.
Broughton at the free throw line.
Al Greshkin throwing in his commentary there, too.
We've got the two most active, talkative coaches going at it here today.
Last time we were on this floor, they were talking to each other, too.
Yes, they were. That just popped in my mind as well.
But, again, you can't give either. Both sides have now given the other team freebies. And it's just 1 point, but it could be a big deal when this game's over.
Inbound at Avery Smith. Kicked over to left wing now, and there's a shot left a bit short. Rebounded by Broughton. His shot up again, no good. And
That's not going to happen. Yeah.
No, not with Marcus Good sitting right there. By the way, a couple of UW Green Bay. Oh, no, UW Milwaukee's Avery Smith. Evans is UW Green Bay.
And the Horizon League there, though.
A couple of rivals, right? There's a shot. Nice job there by Aaron Weaver to hang and square up those shoulders while he's in the air and hit a nice shot.
He had a relatively quiet day yesterday and been held to just 3 points. Boy, both sides holding the guards down a little bit.
Marshall to the rack, throws it up way high, nothing doing there, and now the ball squirts loose of traffic.
Frantic and frenetic right now. I don't know if frenetic's a word, but I just said it. It's frenetic, so we'll go with it.
I think it is. It counts in my dictionary. Brooks backing it up. Now he's going to fire a pass to the near side. That's Leak with it. Into the corner he goes. Harry Marshall. His shot not going to go. He was bumped to the floor. No call. Good underneath. Puts it off the window and in.
Good leading all scorers with 12 points now, and frenetic is a word. And apropos. Fast and energetic in a rather wild and uncontrolled way. You characterize that last couple of trips up and down the floor for both sides.
Nice bounce pass into the lane there. Good just says, get that out of here.
Broughton just keeps going after Marcus Good, and he's just too tall for him.
Nice shot by Brooks, one-on-one. Smith's not going to stop him on that end, and a little bit of a run for the River Sharks have brought them within a bucket, 31-29. It's the Swarm with a lead, 5.5 left until halftime. Avery Smith and his 22 points per game with the basketball between the circles now being picked up by Brooks. He'll bounce it onto the wing. Coming around up top, that's Weaver on the weave, and he's going to spot up, shoot that shot. The weak side rebound controlled finally by the River Sharks, and back up floor comes Jerrold Brooks. Going to kick it left side, passed up by Marshall into the corner. Three ball buried. Terry League with his second triple of the night. And it's the River Sharks back on top, 32-31.
That just gave them the lead. And partner, we've had 6 lead changes in addition to the first bucket of the game.
Pyfrom with the basketball at the free throw line. Throws it between the circles to Smith, who trying to weave around a couple players, and a step back jump shot good over the outstretched arm of Jerrold Brooks. Good bucket there.
Avery Smith's a guy who seems to move in slow motion sometimes, but yet he creates his space and gets his shot.
Skip pass near side. That's Marshall in the corner again. Terry Leach just hit 1 triple. He just hit 2 triples, and you can see him flexing as he heads back up the floor.
Feed the monster. Feed the beast. He's hungry right now there in the corner.
Dalio is hot at the coaching box as well, and there's a whistle blown as a foul noticed on the attempt there by Aaron Weaver. He'll head to the free throw line. Who'd they get the foul called on?
Harry Marshall called for the foul, and Chris Dalio and Avery Smith are kind of sparring a little bit about what just transpired there on the floor.
Yeah, he was steamed. I looked over at Dalio after that triple. He's probably upset him for not staying on the shooter. Leak just hit a triple.
The way this game's going, every free throw is a big deal right now, too.
That one is up and good as it rolls around the rim and drops. St. Fort going to check in. Coming out of the game is Broughton. You're right. These yesterday and today, Broughton's had some real good games.
The Swarm just got a lot more defensive, and I think they're going to put a body there on Terry Leak.
One would assume. Good with a rebound after the missed free throw, so 1 of 2 on that stretch. 35-34, River Sharks with the lead. Just over 4 minutes left. There's a bounce pass down low. That's Marcus Good trying to get that little baby hook shot up and in. He was running the foul, no call either.
I don't quite understand Silas Mills there on that substitution because Marcus Good's been owning him.
Nice cut that time by Weaver. Don't know where he was going with the basketball. They're going to say it was deflected off a Good out of bounds, and it'll stay with the Swarm. And the River Sharks, when they started out this game, if you remember, they were obvious what they were doing. They were trying to pound it down low to Good and DeWitt. They haven't really gone to that. They've kind of been taken out of their game a little bit by the Swarm and that defense.
Well, and DeWitt's sitting on the bench right now with 3 fouls, but as soon as Silas Mills came in, they fed it to Good.
There's a little bump, a lot of contact, no whistle call. There's a shot, weak side. It's going to be knocked out of bounds, and last touch by the Swarm there. And the more and more I'm watching these last couple of games, the more and more I'm sitting there going, you know what, I'd wear those thigh pads too if I was playing basketball. It's a lot more physical of a game at the professional level than it is at the college level.
Absolutely. Right there, that contact there in the lane, no call. I don't know if they consider that incidental or both players just arrived at the same time, but usually that benefits the man with the ball.
Swung around the perimeter, now Good with the basketball into the lane. He goes, he just gets absolutely hacked and then falls down right on one of the Swarm players down low. That's some beef as St. Fort does get up and he seems to be all right. He kind of shaking his head going, whoo, that was close.
Mark St. Fort, yeah, and he got tangled up there with Harry Marshall.
And then him and Terry Leak slap hands as well as Good heads to the free throw. I mean, Marcus Good was just, it's amazing his jersey's in one piece after that.
Who was it on again? Foul was on.
3:20 left in the second period, 37-34. River Sharks with the lead. Good at the free throw line, and he hits it off the back of the iron. No good. It should be 2 shots, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And Marcus Good's a really good free throw shooter. 86%.
All you big fellas out there that are listening.
It can be done.
If you hit your free throws, your points per game average is going to skyrocket. Imagine if Shaq was a good free throw shooter, what his points per game average would have been in his career. I mean, I don't even say good. If he was like a 70% shooter, I'll take 70%. Hits one of them, back to a 4-point lead for the River Sharks. Weaving around, that's McGill, and a charge called. Nice job defensively there by Brooks. That was an easy call to make.
Yeah, he leaned in.
But there was way less contact on that one than there was on that other play down the floor.
So go figure. Hey, Marcus Good, we need you again because the nylon is all tangled up. This time Aaron Weaver will get it, but he had to jump for it.
Anthony Spencer checking in for the Champaign Swarm.
This is his first time on the floor today. Only had 2 points yesterday.
Inbounded quickly, and here comes that pressure for the Swarm. Gotten into Jerrold Brooks. Brooks steps around a couple defenders, gets it into the hands of Marshall. Marshall out to Brooks, now skipped into the corner again. Look, he threw that pass before Good was even there. Step back ball. That's a 2-ball from the corner there by Marcus Good, and he just does a little hop, skip, and a jump over the timeline, far side of the floor.
You talk about Keith DeWitt as a possible player of the year. Well, Marcus Good, I think gives you a run for your money there.
Yeah. Coach Grushkin said once he got him here, he said, listen, once he gets into basketball shape, he's going to be one of the more dominant post players in the league, and he was right. Nice steal there by Evans with the quick hands, and it's complicated by Spencer, who tries to snare him from behind. Foul on Spencer, his first time out on the floor, and it's the River Sharks who have taken control of this one the last few minutes. Still a good one. 40-34. St. Louis with the lead over Champaign.
Out here, there are no cheat codes, no avatars, no magic stars. This does not require an operating system or a username or password. And there will not be better versions of these games coming out next year. There's nothing like the good of sport. This spring, shop the brands you love, plus thousands of items on sale now. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got, set them free at the break of dawn. To one by one they were caught, floating in the summer sky. 99 red balloons go by.
The River Sharks on a 15-3 run to snare a 40-34 lead with 2 minutes 33 seconds left until halftime. Jason Troop alongside my partner Scott Beatty. As advertised, it's been a good one so far.
Yeah, and really a lot of these games between these two teams have been pretty lopsided. All the momentum right now, though, with the St. Louis River Sharks. And one question is how much energy are they expending in all this? The Swarm is trying to find a way to frustrate those inlet passes to the big men.
And really, quite frankly, the River Sharks kind of playing with 7 now as opposed to 8 with DeWitt on the bench. And I imagine he'll stay there until we see him in the third quarter with those 3 fouls. They skip pass over the top of the defense there by Good. Now around the perimeter they go. Bounce back down to Good. He's going to shuffle into the paint. Now left wing. 3 ball on the way. Marshall's not going to go. High rebound being chased down by a couple of players. Looked like Good knocked it out of bounds. And it'll stay with Champaign, or it'll go to Champaign here. 2:13 left until halftime.
This is a key possession right here for the Swarm out of this timeout. Stop the bleeding. And it's only a 2-possession game, but it feels like double digits.
That's how the flow of the game has been the last couple of minutes. Weaver with the basketball on the right wing, picked up his dribble, in a bit of trouble. He's going to throw it down low. In amongst the trees. It's not a good place to be if you're 6'9", not with the 6'10 boys down low there. Little putback, shot clock. No, they're going to keep on playing.
I think it hit rim first time. The shot clock
never did reset.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. Now it's thrown back in. A loose ball all over the place, and now back the other direction we go. Leak spins around a player, and Avery Smith is going to get called for the reach-in. First foul on Smith.
It's been several times now the Swarm are trying to feed down low, and they're getting it there, but then you got too many guys that are too tall. The problem is the Swarm aren't a good outside shooting team. And you see Coach Dalio's not happy if you settle for the outside shot. I'm not sure what the solution is right now with the way Good and Evans and Leak are playing down low.
At the free throw line, Terry Leak. Yeah, he splashes the first one in. 70% free throw shooter is Terry Leak. Averaging 16 a game, 5 rebounds, 6'6", 215-pound swingman. The two Terrys have been huge for this River Sharks team. An Al Grushkin team who has sent 4 players on to other leagues as well. Seems like every time the River Sharks play here at home, they've got a new player or 2 on their roster. There's a shot to the hoop. A couple of players colliding underneath. Not sure what was going on under there. It was blocked by the near side official. And back the other direction we go. Leak to the rack. Has it knocked away. Big swat there by St. Fort. Little hesitation dribble. And now there's a charging. No, they call a blocking foul on Harry Marshall. Whew, whew, whew. That was pretty darn close.
Yeah, Harry Marshall, though, was moving, I think. Avery Smith, pretty good free throw shooter, although his percentage has come down. He was up in the 80s after his first few games.
All the way down to the mid-70s now, huh?
Yep. Boy. I don't know, man.
We'll have to work with him on that after the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Harry Marshall is arguing his point just in front of the scoring table with the official. And I think what he said was, yeah, you weren't set. That is not a necessity anymore for that call. You just have to have position, but certainly makes it a lot more obvious when your feet are set there and you've got that. You have taken that that land. That spot on the floor is yours. And I think you're right. I don't think he had it. Next free throw on the way. I don't think it mattered. Missed
those
them
are
both.
killer.
Now Marshall with the basketball. He's in some trouble. Throws a shoulder into Broughton to get a little separation there. Here's a step-up three ball from Evans on the way. Hits off the heel of the iron. No good. And the rebound by Leak. And the River Sharks will reset things with 60 seconds left in the half. Down low it goes to good.
What a
easy
find.
bucket, too. What a pass by Brooks.
What a find.
And again, this young man, Jerrold Brooks, is taking over the point guard role for the River Sharks. Really until Harry Marshall got here. And he can do so much for you on the floor. He won't be in this league long, my friend. He won't. Long two-point attempt there off the front of the iron, and the rebound deflects off the hand of St. Ford out of bounds near side with 32.8 on the clock.
Just 11 points for the Swarm here in this quarter.
11 in the quarter. These are a couple of defensive teams going at it at best here. Brooks trying to find his way to the rack again and lays it off the window, drew the contact on his way to the hoop, and will head to the free throw line to knock down a couple.
That's Mark St. Ford.
But again, the Swarm have the depth.
Right now, though, they're not playing with the same energy.
Brooks knocks down the first of two. Here's Pyfrom back into the contest out of Creighton University. Not a big-time scorer, though, really.
No, he's always been there for his shot blocking ability.
Brooks knocks them both down, as you would figure, and there's a fraction of a second difference between the game and shot clock. They're going to play for the final shot here, are the Swarm. Aaron Weaver with the basketball. He'll yo-yo it between the rings, now top of the key. Brooks on him, 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Trying to cut to his right, stolen away by Evans. Back the other direction he goes. 2 seconds, 1 second, the launch from half court, no good. Rebound's not going to count on the putback there. And we head to the locker room with a 46-34 River Shark lead. Nice little run by St. Louis to finish off the half. We'll talk about that and break down some of the stats here at the half. Once again, it's 46-34, St. Louis leading Champaign. Back with the halftime after this.
Boys will be boys.
Well, she was drunk.
Well, he was drunk.
She was asking for it. He warned her.
Not my problem.
Why doesn't she just leave? But he's such a nice guy.
He said he was sorry.
We don't talk about that.
It's just the way people are.
We're never going to fix it.
No more excuses.
No more silence.
No more violence.
It's time to end domestic violence and sexual assault once and for all.
How many brackets you filling out?
There's nothing wrong with filling out multiple brackets.
Yeah, it cheapens the bracket.
It does not cheapen the bracket. If anything, it helps you prepare for any scenario. Like maybe a 1 seed wins it all this year. Ooh, what a shocker. Boom, there it is.
Cheapens the bracket.
But maybe a 16 seed beats a 1 seed, which has never happened before. But maybe I have it right here.
Cheapens the bracket.
Maybe you should get on board with my foolproof system, man.
What, the cheapens the bracket system?
Buffalo Wild Wings, 21 sauces and seasonings, tons of taps, and countless flat screens. Nowhere is sports more allowed.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
Breathe. Pillow of the ear.
We are never moving to the suburbs.
We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
Back inside the Family Arena, halftime score 46-34. The River Sharks and the Champaign Swarm, and it's the home team right now, finishing the half on a 21-3 run. As the River Sharks take control of this one, up by a dozen here at the break. And time to take a look at some of the statistics here. And when you look at the shooting numbers, not really pretty for either team. Just 31% shooting from the floor for the Swarm, including 0 of 6 from behind the arc. 16 attempts from three-point land for the River Sharks. They've hit 6 of those. That's 37% from distance, but overall just 38% from the floor shooting for the River Sharks. So the big difference, those three-pointers there as well. You look at the free throws, 10 of 15 for the River Sharks. Champaign just 6 of 15 from the free throw line. That's brutally bad.
You hit even half or more of those, and you are, considerably closer here.
6 points from Malcolm Griffin to lead. Robert Broughton leading the way. He's got 11 points on 5 of 10 shooting. 6 points from Malcolm Griffin, 4 for both Rashard McGill and Aaron Weaver. Chichester's got 7 himself as well. 34 total points again for the Swarm in the first half. Leading the way for the River Sharks, as one would imagine, Jerrold Brooks. And it's really been a three-headed monster. Brooks with a dozen. Terry Leak's got 11. Marcus Good already with 19 points and 9 rebounds for Marcus Good so far. And you look at the rebounding, I'm amazed, absolutely amazed that it's 27-24 in favor of the River Sharks, that it's that close from a rebounding standpoint.
Plus, Marcus Good has 5 blocks. If he keeps up the pace right now, he'll have a triple-double with blocks in there.
Talked a lot about the benches for these two teams, and the St. Louis River Sharks outscoring the Swarm bench 11-6.
That's
those
pretty.
11 though coming from Terry Leak.
That's pretty remarkable. The Swarm bench, which changes by the day about who is on the bench, but has averaged 77 points in the last 3 games.
Whew. And they have got 6 at the midway point here.
But
you're looking at a low-scoring contest to begin with, 46-34. You and I were just talking off the air. What's the lowest-scoring game this season? And you said, what was it, 80-79?
I don't know if that is the lowest, but that is one of
the
most. We're, this is more of a college score right now.
We'll take a look at that flex score on the other side of it this time out, as well as a flex hosting the Chicago Force. This one, playoff implications on the line, where the River Sharks have taken control. A 21-3 run to end the half, and they are up 46-34. Plenty of time for one of the top teams in the league to get back into this one, though. A lot of games with playoff implications this weekend, this being one of them as well. The River Sharks at the half leading 46-34 over the Champaign Swarm. And partner, it's things really haven't cleared themselves up that much more than where we were yesterday.
No, here's where we're at. If the Swarm win and the Bloomington Flex would lose today, and both their game going on right now, then the Swarm would win the league for the regular season. But Bloomington is up 55-37 right now at the half over the Chicago Force. So if that happens, as it
most likely will,
yeah, then that means that the Swarm, if they win here, would have at least second place in the league with the number 2 seed. They could still clinch first place if Bloomington would lose on Thursday to the Windy City Groove. Now, that's not very likely, at least on the matchup on paper, but the Windy City Groove still have playoff hopes alive, and sometimes when a wounded dog, so to speak, you may have
back him into a corner.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. If Champaign loses here, or St. Louis wins, and Bloomington wins, which is what the track is right now, that means the Swarm cannot win the league because Bloomington would win a tiebreaker, but we are no clearer on who is the first place team in the league between St. Louis and Bloomington. So,
yeah. And let's be clear about one thing. It doesn't matter who has the 2 and 3 seeds. It doesn't matter because they're going to play each other.
It only matters for home court advantage.
For home court advantage, sure. I guess you're right. From a matchup standpoint, yeah, the home court advantage. You're right. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
But from who they're playing, and it's a best of 3 series, who they're playing, it will not matter who's the 2 seed and the 3 seed. What I'm saying is, you want that top seed. You really want that top seed.
Yes.
So you can play a team potentially in the Gateway Steam that are 6-14.
Yeah.
You're going to have a team with a significantly sub 500 record in the 4th spot in that playoff push. And I mean, obviously, stranger things have happened in sports, but you would imagine that if you get that top seed, you are, if you play your basketball, a shoe into the championship series.
If Chicago does come back and win against Bloomington and St. Louis wins this game, then everything's still up for grabs with all 3 teams at the top of the league.
I would venture to say that you're right along with me, saying I don't imagine any way that Chicago is going to come back and knock off the Bloomington Flex here tonight. That's probably not going to happen.
By the way, in terms of tiebreakers here, I believe the first tiebreaker is head-to-head matchup, which if St. Louis wins here would put 2 wins for each here between St. Louis and Champaign. I believe the next tiebreaker is points against each other, and we'll have to do some math here for between the 2 teams on who has scored what.
Because it very well could come down to that tiebreaker as to who's going to get that home field or home court.
Yeah, and I believe I believe St. Louis would own that, but we'll have to do some math on that.
We'll do some math while you're crunching numbers over there. We'll step aside for a moment and come on back. Won't you? The second half about to get underway between the River Sharks and the Swarm. It's St. Louis with a 46-34 lead. Haven't really talked much about that first game from earlier today. It was the Windy City Groove upending the Gateway Steam by a count of 114-102. Had Gateway won that game, they would have solidified that final 4th seed in the playoff race. So right now, the Groove still alive. Same cannot be said for the Chicago Force, who are playing the Flex here tonight, as we were talking about, which is one of the reasons why I don't see the Force coming back in that one.
All right, partner, you ready for this? Coming into this game, Champaign had a 3-point advantage over St. Louis.
Get out of here.
Which means if the River Sharks win, that means the head-to-head is 2-2. That means the River Sharks need to win by 4 points or more to own the tiebreaker.
Wow, need to win by 4.
Now, if they win by 3 exactly, then I don't know what the third tiebreaker is. We'd have to dig in deep into the MPBA rule book to figure that one out.
There's another shot from outside, and Marcus Good with another bucket.
So far, St. Louis doing their job in that.
11 seconds left of the shot clock. Coming around that screen, Griffin now trying to get into traffic. A little pull-up jumper in the lane. No good there. Offensive rebound, and now a foul called. Going to get the foul called on Harry Marshall. Third personal for Marshall.
And every foul benefits the Swarm even more with the less bench and less deep bench, if that's a word. Shallower bench. There we go.
Less deep?
Yeah, we tried.
Okay. That's okay. We're not English majors.
No, we just use it for a living.
Wait, what's going on here? Waiting to inbound. It took a little while there. Not sure what the conversation was. McGill with the basketball. He'll take it right wing and now back it into the corner. Looking for a cutter heading to the lane. There's a pass into Broughton, but he couldn't finish it. Now a whistle's going to blow and a foul called over the back on Silas Mills. Second one on Mills.
Silas Mills with his second foul.
Here's Jerrold Brooks bringing the ball up floor. Eyeing that double team as he crosses the timeline, hands it off though, and Evans tried to slam it home but just couldn't get it through the rim. Now kicked it in the wing. That's good from distance again. That jumper not going to go. Rebound swatted back out to the center circle. Shot clock reset. Harry Marshall with the basketball, and now it's stolen away. The pass from Brooks, tipped there by Malcolm Griffin and those long arms. Into the corner. That's a Broughton with it, and he'll back it away. Trying to bounce it inside. Instead, back up top between the circles, it goes to Griffin. Griffin to Pyfrom. A little push off there from Griffin. Got away with it up top of the key. 3-ball. Broughton on the way. No good. Rebounded by Marshall. He's going to push it up the center of the floor. Weaving around a couple of players before he's grabbed onto. Grabbed onto by Richard McGill. And Harry Marshall is not happy about it. I can't say I can completely understand. He was wrapped up.
The referees are talking about what they're going to call here.
McGill gets the foul.
Flagrant.
And he'll get a flagrant. 2 shots and the ball back to the River Sharks. I mean, no reason for it, really. You got to make that call. I don't care what team you're rooting for or what. No reason to wrap somebody up like that.
And it didn't seem all that aggressive, but he still wrapped him up.
Agree. No reason to do that initially, and some of it might have been him trying to help him out from going to the floor. I don't know, but again, there's no reason for it. Marshall hits the first. Second one on the way from Harry. Buries that one as well, and now the River Sharks will take the basketball out at the hash mark. Near side of the floor in front of their own bench with a 50-34 lead.
You just can't give anything away in this game.
It's a 25-3 run now, dating back to the last half. Rebounded by Griffin. He's going to push it up the floor. Almost lost it. Did lose it. Now the ball trickles away. Marcus Good in the right place at the right time. He's going to give it up to DeWitt. Right back to Good. Good underneath. Draws some contact. Couldn't hit the shot, though. But he'll head to the free throw line to shoot a couple after he gets smacked in the head.
Malcolm Griffin almost created a three-point play.
Third personal on Griffin. Second of the quarter. And it's Marcus Good at the stripe.
Hey, partner, we were talking about the tiebreakers. If St. Louis were to win this game by 3 points only,
okay,
3 and 3 exactly, then the difference would be a road record. And the Swarm, their road record would be
7-2,
6-4. 6-4 road record for the Swarm.
Of course, the River Sharks haven't lost here at home, so all 4 of their losses coming on the road as well.
So that would mean they were 6-4.
That both teams would be 6-4 on the road record. So then it would
go to a coin toss.
Coin toss.
That would be great. Nobody leave the gym until we get that coin toss figured out. Just get it taken care of right now.
Baseline drive by Chichester. Couldn't get it to go. He got his own rebound, though. Threw it back up to the rim. That one didn't fall either. Now Brooks with the ball loose. Oh, he lost it as well. Now right back to Griffin it goes. Some sloppy play by both teams, and the Swarm picking up the basketball into the corner. 3-ball on the way. Rims out, no good. Rebounded by Chichester. He couldn't get it to go, and now a jump ball called underneath. Good call made, and it'll stay with the Swarm, it would appear. Jump ball between Terry Evans. It looked like Terry Evans. No, it looks like it's going to be Jerrold Brooks and Chichester. I imagine big number 50 should come away with this one here. Brooks has some hops, though. And Chichester gets the win, but he tipped it right to Harry Marshall, and it's the River Sharks basketball up 52-34. Swarm still looking for their first bucket of the half. 9:28 left in the period. There's a spin around by DeWitt. Foul called down low on Chichester. That's 4 now on Josh Chichester.
And really, the Swarm have been stuck on 34 since for several minutes going back into the end of the second quarter. Everything going away to St. Louis right now, and that's really admirable with the way the cards were stacked against them.
Little left-handed floater in the lane, no good. Rebound put back by Marcus Good.
23 for him.
It's a 20-point game now, Park. 54-34.
It was a 21-3 run to close the half for the St. Louis River Sharks.
They've added 8 onto that, so a 29-3 run. Make that 31-3 run as Marshall pulls up and hits one. My goodness gracious.
Was that a 2 or a 3?
Timeout called. It was a 2-ball by Marshall. 30-second timeout taken by Chris Dalio. And we'll keep it right here as well with 8:49 on the clock here in the third. 56-34.
Hey, fans, know someone attending Parkland College in Champaign this fall? Parkland Point is the closest student housing to the college. With fully furnished, all-inclusive apartments with individual leases, let your student get the full college experience. Mention the Champaign Swarm at Parkland Point and receive $50 off your first month's rent.
Getting set to inbound the basketball at the hash mark far side of the floor. It'll be Griffin to trigger it. Avery Smith with it, and they're going to weave up top. Aaron Weaver's going to hand it off. Right back to Griffin it goes. He'll pull up at the free throw line. Jump shot, a bit too strong. Rebound pulled down by DeWitt. Nice to see his long, lanky arms out there for the River Sharks. Sat for most of the first half with foul trouble, and now the pass down to DeWitt, double teamed on the baseline, looking for help. Spins a pass towards the area of Marcus Good, but he couldn't get there in time. Picked off by Avery Smith. Back the other direction he goes. Hangs in the air. Shot no good. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Swarm.
The Swarm still cannot get a bucket.
Again, Swarm in that first half did not shoot well. Just 31% from the floor. That's 14 of 44. Jerrold Brooks lobs the pass over to DeWitt. Now into the corner goes Marshall. His 3-ball on the way. Buried it. And Grushkin yelling at his team to get back. On the wing it goes Griffin. He's going to step into a 3-ball. Nothing doing there. Rebound comes all the way down to the floor for Brooks. Across the timeline, he'll lob it into Marshall. Marshall picks it. Fires off the shot from 17, and he's on fire. Who's not on fire for the River Sharks? 61-34. Champaign hasn't scored in a minute. My goodness. There's a take to the hoop, and finally Weaver ends the drought.
This is almost embarrassing for the Swarm right now.
61-36 in shades of our last meetup between these two teams here at the Family Arena. Starting to come into play. There's a little shot from the paint, nothing doing there. Rebounded by McGill. Stolen away, though, by Brooks. He'll lob it right back down again to Evans underneath. His shot won't go. Rebounded defensively. Now it's tipped away again. In the corner, Brooks, 3-ball, not going to go. Weak side battling for the rebound, and finally they're going to call it over the back, this time on Terry Evans. First personal on Terry Evans. Here comes Anthony Spencer.
By the way, our Craig Fader, our man with the league, has reminded us that, of course, if St. Louis were to win here by 3 points, that would also mean the Swarm have 5 losses and St. Louis still has 4 losses.
Oh, yeah,
so,
forget about that whole point.
So, the overall record. But
kind of a
St.
moot
Louis
point,
could
right?
still lose another game, and then the tiebreaker could potentially come into play.
Sure. Got to give yourself every advantage you can. Look at Brooks down the lane. I think he should have just taken that to the hoop himself, tried to leave it off there for Marcus Good, and lost it over the end line.
Sometimes the obvious eludes us, huh?
Well, it still comes into play.
Yeah.
I mean, you still want that tiebreaker. You want to win by 4 if you're St. Louis. There's a 3-ball. Looked good out of the hand. No good, though, and the rebound pulled down on the weak side there by Terry Leak.
There's no life in the Swarm right now. Sometimes you can sense teams that want it. St. Louis wants it.
Good play defensively to knock that ball away. And
Marcus Good just stepped on Anthony Spencer. And he may claim it was inadvertent, but he did not do anything to try and get out of the way of Anthony Spencer right there.
Big collision underneath the basket. You're right. I think I saw the foot on the side of the head of Marcus Good. Again, they were tangled underneath there. I don't believe there's anything bad.
Well, it didn't look, I'll say this, partner, it didn't look deliberate, but it didn't look like he was trying to get out of the way either.
Going to be white basketball, which means it'll be River Shark basketball when they figure out what's going on with Anthony Spencer over there. Still laying underneath the basket right now with 6:26 on the clock here in the third period. We're going to step aside and, well, let's see. Spencer's up and walking around. Let's hold on here for 1 second. Round of applause to Spencer from the fans behind us, and he's going to check out. Mark St. Fort's going to check in. And so far it just looks like Spencer just banged up a bit, shaking off the cobwebs, if you will.
Hey, I've been feeling that for a while when a 7-footer steps on you.
I generally try to avoid that myself.
Yeah, it's a good policy to live by.
Inbounded to DeWitt. Back to the action here. Harry Marshall, the bounce pass to Good. Little turnaround fadeaway.
Wow.
Buried it. I mean, Marcus Good is not showing this type of range all day, all year.
What is he doing in this league?
He is showing everybody that he doesn't need to be here. That's what he's doing. And that's one of the points of this league. Again, a guy that broke his hand in his first game with the NBA Developmental League.
I've got to imagine there's somebody waiting with a contract for him to go back there. And no disrespect to Brandon Provost, but if he can find his way back.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. In my mind, and listen, it's a lot of it comes down to not just skill level, and it's very similar in basketball as baseball. It's not just, is this guy good? Is this guy young enough as well? I mean, you're not going to go, I don't care if whoever's averaging 30 points a game, he's 38 years old, are they going to want to go? Are you going to be able to get him, number one? So some of these guys, I mean, there's more to it than just the stats they're putting up.
Hey, what's their
Especially
temperament,
the
if there's
developmental league, too.
Yeah. If they're, also off-court issues or temperament in the clubhouse, in the locker room.
Well, I know this much for sure, that Coach Grushkin does his due diligence and background checks and criminal records and all that when he's signing these guys as well. There's a step through a double team and a foul going to be called. Timeout. Do they call timeout instead? No, I think they got a foul, right? It's right in front of us. Yeah,
yes.
They got the foul on Aaron Weaver. Timeout taken on the floor as well with 5:59 on the clock. It's 63-38. River Sharks have taken control of this one. Back inside the Family Arena, St. Charles, Missouri, the site of our doubleheader today in the MPBA. It's 63-38 right now. River Sharks looking for win number 14, trying to send Champaign to their 5th loss. And right now the River Sharks have really taken control of this contest. It was 46-34 St. Louis, who ended the half on a 21-3 run.
At some point, you have to figure the Swarm are going to come back. I don't know if they're going to come back, but they're going to start making their run.
They're going to start making buckets, right? I mean, they're just going to start scoring. I mean, Champaign has been stuck on 34 points for a long time. Listen, they're at 38 now. They've scored 4 points. And what did you say? They scored 11 in the second quarter?
That's right.
So they scored 11 in the second quarter. They've got 4 now here in the third, and there's only 6 minutes left.
So we're looking at 15 points now in a quarter and a half.
I mean, this is the MPBA, right? Not the WNBA. It's supposed to be a little more scoring.
All right.
Shot up and good. There by Harry Marshall. Here we go back to the action on the floor. Please send your emails to somebody else.
Yeah, that is Jason Troop.
Big 3-ball launch from the wing, and I'm not sure that the Swarm have hit a single distance shot yet.
No, they have not.
Three-point land. Hicks, it just gets hammered on his way to the rack, and will head to the free throw line to shoot a couple. 0 for 6 at the half was the Swarm from distance. And clearly they haven't hit any here. Broughton picks up his first. And here is James Hicks, who stands a good foot back of the free throw line. The 11-foot free throw drops in.
It's his first point.
Told you, not a guy that's going to score you a lot. And not a guy that's supposed to. I mean, why are you going to put the ball in his hands from an offensive standpoint when you've got the likes of Jerrold Brooks, Marcus Good, Keith DeWitt, Terry Evans, and Leak?
Bingo.
Here's a take to the hoop there by Aaron Weaver. No help defensively for the River Sharks, and Weaver showing off that quick step you've been talking about. Here comes that pressure again.
Weaver has all 6 points for the Swarm here in the
quarter.
And
now a reach-in foul called on Malcolm Griffin. Swarm, I'll tell you what, they're busy. They're busy hands for the Swarm in this defense, and it's fun to watch. 4th foul, as you just motioned to me, on Malcolm Griffin. Him and Josh Chichester with 4. For the Swarm. And the one thing, too, about the River Sharks, they're going to hit their free throws. They're not going to get beat at the free throw line. Spencer checks back into the game.
And Harry Marshall, by the way, is taking care of business.
Filling it up today, huh?
Yeah, he's got 12. All in this quarter.
Look at Baker's dozen for number 23, and it's 69-40. Quickly up floor, that's Weaver again. You can feel the sense of urgency as Weaver hits one off the window there.
Sometimes somebody has to say, I'm going to do it if nobody else is.
Brooks across the time stripe. It goes to DeWitt. DeWitt, a pretty good ball handler. He's got nice hands as well. He's certainly somebody that you can use in the pressure break. Now it's lobbed down low to DeWitt. Kicks it right back up top. Brooks in rhythm from way back, and he buried another.
Wow.
Heck, did I say he was in range when he got to the gym? He was in range when he got into his car this morning. And there's a bucket and a big hook, a big bucket by LaFonso Ellis. Where's he been all game?
This has been his first playing time.
First appearance, yeah.
4th foul here on Keith DeWitt.
Yeah, surprising that LaFonso Ellis doesn't see any time until the 3rd. Like Evans getting set to check back in as well for the River Sharks as Ellis lines up the free throw and he buries it. Kicks the quick inbound, and here come the River Sharks on the pressure break. Weaver up top of it. Picking up man-to-man on Jerrold Brooks, and they're going to back up and play that man-to-man. Brooks picks up his dribble, not a good spot too, but finds his teammate now down on the floor, losing possession. Oh, they got the timeout. 30-second timeout. With Terry Leak down on the floor. Again, your final from earlier today, it was the Windy City Groove up ending Gateway, 114-102.
Champaign Swarm and the Midwest Professional Basketball Association have formed a partnership along with the St. Louis River Sharks with the Corporate Alliance to End Partner Violence. They believe in developing players on the court along with developing good citizens off the court and in the workplace. The Champaign Swarm, St. Louis River Sharks, and the MPBA are proud to be a part of the community.
Latest update from Bloomington. Flex leading 55-37 over the Force.
That was a halftime score,
I believe.
It's got to be up.
A couple other basketball games of note as the River Sharks inbound it. One from earlier today. Michigan State upends Louisville 76-70 in overtime. And there's a turnover back the other direction. There's Broughton to the hoop, and he lays it up and in. The other game in action right now, it's the Dukies leading Gonzaga 51-44. 8.5 left in that one.
You know how you feel about that.
Do not like the Dukies.
An offensive foul here?
Yes, it was. It's on Hicks on the little push-off there. Marcus Good checking back into the contest as well, and out comes James Hicks. No more Keith DeWitt. Right now, Good, the only size on the floor. DeWitt sitting with his 4 fouls, and why not with a comfortable lead? It's 72-47 with 4:20 left in the third.
If St. Louis ends up with the 2nd seed and the Swarm end up with the 3rd seed, I mean, St. Louis has the advantage, and with the way home court advantage and the way that's gone in this series so far, everybody on the home floor has won.
And won big.
Yeah. So you got to give the advantage to St. Louis if these two teams face off in the playoffs that way.
I mean, it's a 25-point game. Where did that go? It was 46-34, and yes, the River Sharks grabbed momentum and carrying it into the half, but the Swarm have come out as flat can be, and I'm wondering if playing the game yesterday is hurting the Swarm more than anybody else.
And Marcus Good, and Keith DeWitt.
And now we've got an infraction called on the near side here. Technical foul called against the Champaign Swarm.
All right, against Coach Dalio. Now we have another blood issue.
Infectious control is the official term for it.
Infection control. All right.
Infectious control.
Shush, not infection.
Infectious, yes, infectious control. All
right.
sorts of infections, multiple infections. Infectious control.
All right.
72-47 your score. 4:20 mark right now. We'll keep it here. We're ready to go. And a bench technical is going to be shot here by Jerrold Brooks before we continue the action.
That's the first technical on Coach Dalio all year.
That's amazing. That's amazing because he is so colorful and so adamant about things.
Yeah.
I don't think Grushkin is as well. Yeah, Grushkin's got teed up this year already.
I actually think Coach Dalio doesn't get on the refs that much.
It's more about
he's more getting on his players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you should. Listen, the players are the ones that need to make the adjustments. We've already talked about how impressed we've been with the refereeing throughout the course of the season. There's a nice take to the hoop, and nothing doing there. It was tapped out of bounds. Last touch by Good. It'll stay with the Swarm. Should stay with the Swarm, I think. Now, here's Al Grushkin saying press break, but it's not their basketball. Inbounded it goes to Weaver. He's on the wing. Now up top it goes St. Fort's going to launch it from way deep and throws up an air ball. Harry Marshall mugged on the far side. Just does get rid of the basketball. Now it's slung to the other end of the floor. Step back 3 ball on the way from Terry Leak. Buried it. Oh, my goodness. He was thinking about that one as well. Looked down, saw his feet on the stripe, stepped back, and chucked it in.
That's his 4th of the year.
76-47.
Feels like it's been a year if you're the Champaign Swarm, huh?
I mean, again, it was 46-34 at the break.
Checking in for the River Sharks.
Scored 11 in the second quarter. People talk a lot about this River Sharks team. Good, DeWitt, Jerrold Brooks, how he can score it, but not enough people talk about the defense for St. Louis. They really don't, and it has been a very good defense all season. Another 3 ball from Leak on the wing, and he buried it again. How are you going to leave him open? Back-to-back triples for number 44.
Well, they're giving up 112 points a game, so I think that might be why the defense is viewed as suspect.
So there's no doubt.
But when they do turn it on,
when they play their D, they play their D.
I think that's the thing of the River Sharks. They're hot and cold at times. Jekyll and Hyde.
I'll tell you what, they are a different team on this floor. They really are. Having not seen them play away from this floor. That's how I look at the defense. I mean, their defense at home here is just awesome.
But I would agree with you. They just look like a very different team. The 2 times I've seen them on the road. I take that back. They looked very good on the road in Bloomington. I saw them there.
That's true. That's true. And that was one of those games where they wanted to go in and prove a point.
Yeah.
Kenny McGowan checking in. Harry Marshall's going to check out.
Should have had a media timeout, I think, but we're going to play on.
It's a 30-point game right now. Spinning, trying to go baseline. Now just trying to throw it off a leg. Not going to happen there. A pass ahead to McGowan. He lost the handle on it and just ended up pushing it out of bounds. Baseline left. 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock here in the third. 79-49. Swarm basketball. That's St. Fort out of Warner University. And he has that pass, or has that shot knocked away cleanly from behind by Terry Leak, who can hop. Both the Terrys for this River Sharks team, Evans and Leak, can certainly hop. Inbounded up top it goes. That's LaFonso Ellis underneath, has his shot altered and then finally blocked ahead by Good. Ahead they go to McGowan, his layup, no good. Missed the bunny, and back the other way go the Swarm. Right there, Marcus Good. He can't get in the way of that one, and an easy 2 points. That's a 4-point swing right there because McGowan couldn't hit the easy layup. Now bounce pass left wing to Evans. Up top it goes to Brooks, who's being picked up by the fresh LaFonso Ellis. Brooks right around him. Down the lane he goes. Now a wraparound pass. Couldn't get enough on it to get it to Good in the corner. And again, Brooks being a bit too unselfish. Go ahead and take that to the rack. I mean, most of these teams tired. I mean, you can any ball that's loose on the floor, it just kind of rolls up. Nobody wants to pick it up. They're waiting for their refs to pick it up themselves. Back-to-back games. And like you said, not a lot of back-to-back days you play games in this league.
And the Swarm will get several days, probably more than a week off here before the playoffs start. The playoff schedule has not been determined yet.
Missed that little bunny in front as well.
Lid
Battle for the ball down low, and now a foul called, I believe, a tripping foul underneath. I think that was the call. Yeah, tripping foul underneath. We'll wait to see who they got, if it was 41 or 5. They're going to get St. Fort for it. That's 4 on him. Timeout taken by Chris Dalio with 1:29 left in the third. It's 79-51. We're going to step aside and take it as well. This is all River Sharks really since midway through the second.
Boys will be boys.
Well, she was drunk.
Well, he was drunk.
She was asking for it.
He warned her.
Not my problem.
Why doesn't she just leave?
But he's such a nice guy.
He said he was sorry.
We don't talk about that.
It's just the way people are.
We're never going to fix it.
No more excuses.
No more silence.
No more violence.
It's time to end domestic violence and sexual assault once and for all.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got, set them free at the break of dawn. So one by one they were gone, floating in the summer sky. 99 red balloons go by.
79-51, St. Louis River Sharks with the lead over the Champaign Swarm. Jason Troop alongside Scott Beatty. Double dip it today, and our thoughts going out to Alvin Washington.
Alvin, if you're listening, hope you're back on your feet soon enough to take care of yourself. Alvin had an unscheduled trip to the hospital earlier today.
One of our many broadcast partners all around the MPBA.
Looking at the scoreboard, Flex, after 3 quarters, lead the Chicago Force 89-57.
Okay, so that's over. Now it's a 32-point game with 12 minutes left in the Force and their offense. So that one's over. Flex are going to win that.
Force have nothing to play for now.
Shot from Brooks, up and good as we seem like this game here in the third period is just slowed to a screeching halt.
So many fouls.
Yep.
And frankly, sloppy play.
Next one from Brooks, splashes in.
It comes when you're tired.
So a 30-point lead for the River Sharks. We were talking not long ago about how they need to win by 4 in order to hold the tiebreaker. Nice job by Hicks. Look at him body up on the defense there. A little hook shot. That's not going to go. The rebound spits right back into the lap of LaFonso Ellis. But that's that defense there by Hicks. He would not let Silas Mills power him to the rack. Look, and now the basketball gets loose. And what did I say? No one's rushing to go get it. Evans did so much as saunter after it.
Hey, it's Sunday, man.
It's Sunday on the back end, and you're playing this this pressing team as well. Nolan Richardson is smiling somewhere. There's a foul committed by Mills right in front of us. Third for Mills. And again, in the bonus, so back to the free throw line go the River Sharks. Brooks, the Southern Miss Golden Eagle, gets the free throw. Pyfrom checks in. Out goes Silas Mills.
And that's what we were talking here about the Swarm going cold. There's this game here between the Cleveland and Philadelphia in the NBA, where neither team scored in the final 3 minutes and 57 seconds of the ball game. That has to be a new thing, a new record. I don't know if that's a record.
Something. It's either terrible offense or some pretty good defense, and I would assume it's the NBA, so we're probably talking about some terrible offense.
Well, in the situation was a 1-point game, it was a 1-point win. There wouldn't be a team fouling intentionally, so I guess you can see how that could happen.
It's a low-scoring pro game, huh? 87-86. Got another period to go here. River Sharks will definitely get to 87 as Broughton buries the free throw. Richard McGill back in for the Swarm, and out goes LaFonso Ellis. You can't say Ellis without saying LaFonso, you know? It's just too cool of a name to pass by.
Exactly.
And, you know, people recognize it.
His father especially recognized how cool his own name was.
I recently had a son. I did not want to name him a junior. Well, plus Jason Jr. would just get all over the place. JJ, whatever. There's a shot pass by Leak. He passed up the triple, was going to fire the pass down into the paint, and it was knocked away.
Hey, you know, stranger things have happened here with 12 minutes of basketball coming up yet to play. You know, the Swarm certainly look done, but things can change. I wouldn't count on it, but things can change.
Well, they also run that style of ball, too, that things could change. There's a ball just ripped right out of the hands by Broughton. Ahead the other way to McGill, to the rack. Not going to go. Put back up and in there by Aaron Weaver. But the frenetic pace that they play, and again, the lack of depth for St. Louis, there's still a long time to go. I mean, I'm with you. McGowan spots up 3. That looked good from here. Just a bit too strong, though. Rebounded by Leak. He's going to kick it back up top again to Brooks, who steps out in the center circle. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Brooks looking to finish off the quarter here with a bucket. Shakes to his right, loses his balance. Into the corner it goes. 3 ball. That one rattled out. No good from James Hicks. And then a shot from the other baseline is going to fall a bit short. And that'll put us through 3 quarters of play. 83-57. River Sharks lead it after 3. Back with more after this.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you.
We're never having kids.
A little bit here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
How many brackets you filling out?
There's nothing wrong with filling out multiple brackets.
Yeah, it cheapens the bracket.
It does not cheapen the bracket. If anything, it helps you prepare for any scenario. Like, maybe a 1 seed wins it all this year. Ooh, what a shocker. Boom, there it is.
Cheapens the bracket.
But maybe a 16 seed beats a 1 seed, which has never happened before. But maybe I have it right here.
Cheapens the bracket.
Maybe you should get on board with my foolproof system, man.
What, the cheapens the bracket system?
Buffalo Wild Wings, 21 sauces and seasonings, tons of taps, and countless flat screens. Nowhere is sports more alive.
Just need to fix it. 83-57, River Sharks lead the Champaign Swarm. 12 minutes up on the clock as we get set to start the fourth. Been a long weekend of MPBA action. Doubleheader yesterday here at the Family Arena. We're going to wrap up the fourth game in 24 hours or so at the conclusion of this one. Flex are pulling and have essentially pulled away from the fourth, so looks like Bloomington will earn the W.
They will go to 15-4 if that holds out.
And if this score holds here, St. Louis will be a half game back at 14-4.
Swarm will fall to, what, a full game out?
15-5, yep. Underneath.
No, they'd be a half game out also.
Shot blocked underneath, but a foul called. It's going to be on Keith DeWitt. 5 on DeWitt. And again, here we go into the fourth quarter. No depth for the River Sharks tonight. They dressed 8.
So that may come into play yet here.
Free throw good from Weaver.
15 now for Aaron Weaver, and that matches Rob Broughton for the top 2 scorers. I don't think the Swarm aren't used to having Rob Broughton be their top scorer. That's a sign that things aren't going as planned. With all due respect, because Rob Broughton's been playing great, but he's not your main scorer.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that averages 7.5 a game. There are 6 players on the Champaign roster that average more points per game than that. McGowan might have just gotten away with a little travel. Pass to the corner there, good. Has it knocked out of his hands and off his leg, and it turned back over. And I'm sensing a little. I'm not saying it's a complete shift, but the Champaign Swarm I feel like they're starting to feel it.
Well, the Swarm are on an 8-2 run right now.
83-59. Early stages of the fourth.
Keith DeWitt playing with 5 fouls on the floor.
Taking it to the hoop that time. That's Broughton. Turnaround shot, bouncing around the rim, and it falls in. Broughton again continuing his offensive effort today. Near side, got to get it across the court. Now DeWitt with it along the sideline. He's in some trouble, but those long arms, he can see over the defense. Skips the pass to the far side, and now it's Jerrold Brooks with the basketball. A little hesitation up top, bounce it baseline. There's a jump shot from good, and he can't miss. He can't miss those little jump shots. Part of his game that you won't see a lot of big men here in this league with it. There's a little steal, and McGowan the other direction just kind of throws up a shot, trying to get that call on a shot. Clearly not. Run down by our well-paid ball boy on the far side.
Mark is good with, he's got range, he's got footwork, he moves. He just doesn't look like a guy that moves, but he does.
Ellis and Griffin checking in for Champaign.
All right, some fresh bodies coming in here for the Swarm. Josh Chichester back in, Malcolm Griffin, LaFonso Ellis.
Weaver stays out there. St. Fort checked in as well. And now McGowan bumped as he crossed the timeline. Griffin holds his palms to the heavens as if to say, why is that a foul? But, I mean, he shoved him pretty good.
Malcolm Griffin, very foul prone. That's the one downside I've seen in Malcolm Griffin's game. As well as I'm sure he'd like to knock down a few more jumpers.
Heck, who wouldn't? That's 5 on Griffin. Brooks with it in the center circle now. Looking for help from McGowan, who comes up top. I mean, the River Sharks are going to just be happy just running the clock all the way to the end of the shot clock the rest of the game. Step back jumper from Brooks. Buried it!
Oh, my.
Look at the River Shark bench explode when he hits that one as well. Worked that shot clock down under 10 and just hit the step back jumper.
He's got 22.
Chichester with it now, trying to work on Marcus Good. Spins inside, throws up the shot. Nice little move there for the former tight end. Over the veteran Marcus Good.
If the Swarm can get this down to 20 points at the 8-minute mark and 10 at the 4-minute mark, then I think they're in it.
Not sure how that's going to happen as DeWitt just gets hacked on his way to the rack. And the foul going to be noticed. A couple of players could be called. It could either be on St. Ford or Chichester, and it's going to be on Chichester. That's 5 on him now. Yeah. So Chichester and Griffin both with 5 apiece. And again, when you talk about the River Sharks, this is a good free throw shooting team. That's why I don't see the Swarm coming back from this much of a deficit. If they could foul him, send him to the stripe, and maybe only get 1 of 2 every time they shoot the free throws. Trade 2 for 1, 3 for 2, somewhere down the stretch you go. But the River Sharks, they're going to hit these freebies.
Oh yeah, ball in hand right here for the River Sharks, and they've earned it today.
Second one on the way from DeWitt, pure shot as well.
Something about this building for the Swarm when they're here against the River Sharks. And Malcolm Griffin got away with a push-off there.
It's interesting you say that. I brought this up early into the season when I was talking with Al Grushkin, and there's a triple no good from LaFonso. And I asked about this because this arena is so much bigger than really any of the other places that these teams play. Is that going to have an effect on these teams from a shooting standpoint, more the visitors than the home team? The arena effect, if you will, when it gets to the NCAA tournament. Loose ball down on the floor, still battling for it. We're going to have a jump ball call. And now they say timeout was called before the jump ball by head coach Chris D'Aleo. But that being said, a bigger arena like this, the lights are different, the background is different. Maybe that has some sort of an effect. I don't know. Just something I thought about early on in the season, but everybody's told me no, so I'm going to just go with them and say it's not that big of a deal. We're going to step aside. It's mandatory timeout. 9:23 on the clock, 89-63. River Sharks lead it. 89-63 your score with 9:23 left here in the fourth.
Champaign Swarm probably recognize outstanding local businesses for their support during the season, like Jupiter's at the Crossing in Champaign, Walk Chiropractic and Acupuncture Center in Mahomet, and Parkland Point Apartments. Thanks to these companies, exciting professional basketball in the community is here to stay.
River Sharks in control of this one. Champaign trying to reach deep down and battle back into this one. Still, it's a 26-point contest, though.
You have to score almost every time down.
A nice move underneath by Chichester. They wave off the shot, though. Foul going to be called.
Marcus Good.
Oh, Marcus Good. Didn't see it.
He got his hands on him, is what Dan Bishop said.
Called it on the floor before the shot then, huh?
Yep.
Kind of a unfortunate for the Swarm in that situation there because Chichester had an easy bucket. Marcus Good picking up the foul. Just his second. So DeWitt on the bench with those 5 fouls.
I think all in all that works out for the River Sharks better.
Yeah, worked out great. There's a nice cut to the rack. Hesitation, throwing it up and in. What a move there by Malcolm Griffin.
Yeah, to avoid the arms of Good. He read what was coming. Good job.
Big difference between the River Sharks against this pressure by the Swarm and the Gateway Steam yesterday. River Sharks just have a little better talent from a guard play standpoint. LaFonso Ellis just throws up a shot, can't hit it from point blank. And back the other direction goes Evans, 1-on-3. He's going to leave it for Good, who just lays it softly over the rim.
All right, that'll give you gray hairs.
There's a take to the hoop, and they missed it easily. I mean, Chichester had a finger roll that all he had to do was kiss it off the window, and he couldn't get it to go.
2 layups missed there. And that, I said if the Swarm can get this within 20 by 8 minutes, and then 10 by 4, well, they could have just there, but instead it's 6-point swing.
Brooks just shook Weaver out of his shoes, and another shot buried from the corner. A triple from McGowan.
That's
94-65.
the first points for McGowan, but this now feels like the turkey's done, huh?
McGowan's the kind of guy that goes, I mean, he is a streaky shooter. When he's hitting from three-point land, you have to get into his face. That shot left short there by Weaver. The offensive rebound by Chichester. His shot left short again, and the rebound by Brooks. He's bumped underneath, and will bring the ball up court. So you know what I mean? It's just the River Sharks just seem more relaxed with the pressure out there. Gateway seemed like they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off some points in time, trying to do anything they could to break the pressure. River Sharks are kind of a little more calm, collected, cool. They walk up the court.
Everybody knows what each team is bringing at this point in the year. And the three teams with losing records know that the Swarm are bringing press as well as St. Louis and Bloomington do, but they can't handle it.
Oh, get that out, says good.
Both St. Louis and Bloomington can handle the pressure. Meanwhile, the Swarm just not executing on offense.
Just not hitting shots well either. I mean, they're missing the short ones, missing the mid-range jumpers, missing the three balls.
I mean, you know they're not hitting, doing well. They're only got 65 points on the board right now with 7:25 left to go.
Here's his shot from inside the arc. Missed, and the rebound squirts out into the hands of Kenny McGowan. They get it over the timeline. You can hear the River Shark bench to our left. Just get it over. There's a reach-in foul called on Griffin, and see you later, goodbye. Malcolm Griffin, that's 6 on him. So he fouls out.
Here comes Avery Smith, who's been very limited. I think Avery Smith is not 100%. You asked the question earlier.
Be, right?
I think that has to be the issue. He had a hamstring issue earlier this month, and that has to be aggravating. You can see he's not as explosive.
Well, you're talking about a guy that's averaging 22 a game, and he just hasn't been there today. Maybe you're right. Aggravated it a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know that. It's only speculation. But
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I'm no doctor. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though. Brooks with another nice take to the hoop, and there's Marcus Good playing defense on the other end. Draws the contact. The bucket good by Aaron Weaver, and Good picks up his third. And so Weaver will head to the stripe to try to complete the three-point play. Weaver lines it up and knocks down the free throw. Across the board, I mentioned they're not hitting shots from up front, not hitting the mid-range jumpers, not hitting the three balls, and really Swarm not hitting free throws as well tonight. It's just been a bad shooting night. And there's a trip on McGowan as he gets knocked to the floor by Anthony Spencer. 30-point lead now with 6.5 left. So now you can kind of start looking at really nothing from the playoff standpoint, right? I mean, we've been trying to figure out who's going to go where. Well, the Flex are going to win over Chicago today. That's not a surprise. Looks like the River Sharks, barring a miraculous comeback over by the Swarm, are going to improve as well to 14-4. And these two teams, as we already did the math, it will be the River Sharks holding the tiebreaker due to the point differential between the two teams.
Yeah, even if it even comes to that. So that's the one thing that's killing the Swarm is they're not going to own a tiebreaker against either team.
So you're looking at the Swarm probably as the 3 seed at this point in time. Probably the 3 seed.
That's where the money is, I think. And who does St. Louis have left?
Wednesday. Let's check that schedule real quick. St. Louis has a couple of games left. I'm sure
like Gateway.
Yeah, which they should take care of business there. But again, that's a neutral court game. That will not be played here. That'll be played at a smaller facility in the center of Clayton. LaFonso Ellis just decides to launch a three from way back.
But isn't there still another one that could be played?
There is another one that could be played, and I don't know what that matchup is, who it would be. And we can play process of elimination as the River Sharks just do get it across, and now the whistle's going to blow. I guess they got it out of bounds. Play process of elimination, all right? So they're not going to play the Swarm.
No, Gateway and St. Louis have another game to play. This is a scheduled game on April 1st. They had a canceled game earlier in the year that still hasn't been scheduled. The Wednesday game that is scheduled was already on.
St. Louis and Gateway have to play an additional game
against each other. Yeah, they've only played each other twice. Broughton has 19 points. That matches his season high.
98-70, 5.5 left. River Sharks trying to break this press. left wing. Now back to Brooks it goes.
Actually 72 for the Swarm. They were
What did I
a
say?
little late on the scoreboard there.
98-72. Brooks, oh, look at that. Got that knocked out of the way. Went with the underhand, and St. Fort got the swat. Now there's a couple players down underneath the hoop. Looks like Jerrold Brooks as well as Aaron Weaver. And they're both going to make their way to the other end of the floor. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how over this game is, not that, getting hurt is, a fun thing or anything like that, but that's how over this game is both of those two kind of helping each other out. Nobody rushing back to the other end. Back up top it goes. That's Weaver. The three ball. Buried it. 75-98.
24 for Weaver.
23-point lead, and now Brooks will walk the basketball across the center stripe. Fires it to the timeline. Now a skip pass wing. That's Leak with the three ball. Hit it again. That's 3 from distance for Terry Leak.
6 3-pointers for Terry Leak. He's brutalizing him.
Rebound kicked all the way back out to Broughton. Got away with a blatant travel. Fans behind us made the call. Into the corner it goes. There's a shot from St. Fort. That's not going to go. Rebound, put back. That should have fallen. It couldn't go either. Par for the course today for the Swarm. Just couldn't get anything to go. Now another shot from the wing. That's not good either. Rebound, put back up. That's no good. Still battling for it, and somehow it was tipped in. I think credit St. Fort with the bucket.
This is now junk time here. You can just see the players just trying to pad their stats a little bit.
101-77, and Brooks across the line, and he's fouled right at it by Avery Smith. And that'll send the River Sharks to the line the rest of this quarter as well. What's Brooks have now? Nearing 30, yeah?
He is at
Mid-20s.
24.
24 it remains as he misses that shot. James Hicks getting set to check in for Marcus Good, and that might be it for Good today. Might not see DeWitt anymore either.
31 points for Marcus Good. Whew. Certainly he's got a double-double with the rebounds. He had 9 at halftime.
That one rattles in. Even Jerrold Brooks kind of screams at the basketball when he got the roll on that one.
10
Back
for
the other
12
direction
from the line.
as they take to the hoop, and it's missed. I mean, a point-blank layup again by St. Fort missed. The other direction, Terry Leak is going to hammer it home. 104-77.
79, partner, because there are
way behind the scoreboard, huh?
No, you're right. I'm sorry. There was no points down there at the other end.
Yeah, he missed that layup. Anthony Spencer at the stripe now. I mean, if these guys want to go, they need to just stop fouling each other. Both teams essentially in the bonus. That was the 4th team foul on the River Sharks that sent Spencer to the line. He knocks them both down. 104-79. McGowan's going to lob it towards the rack, trying to set up an alley-oop play to James Hicks, and he let him a bit too much. Now Hicks with a steal, just swatted at the basketball to get the cheapie, and now to the rack he goes, puts it up off the window and in. Weaver back up the floor again. Pulls up, now kicks it up top. 3 ball on the way from St. Fort. That missed a bit short. Rebound being knocked around. Hicks got a piece of it at first, and now the River Sharks with the basketball going the other direction. Up and under. Easy bucket again for Terry Leak.
Stat padding time.
NBA All-Star game is what we got going on here now. He's taken. Look at him rise. That's Evans with the swat. Now the whistle blows. A foul in the paint on the far side, right on the Valley sign. Timeout taken by Chris Daly. It was a mandatory timeout anyway. Foul called. We'll come back and reset it. It's 108-79. River Sharks about to put the final 2:51 to bed.
Boys will be boys.
Well, she was drunk.
Well, he was drunk.
She was asking for it.
He warned her.
Not my problem.
Why doesn't she just leave?
But he's such a nice guy.
He said he was sorry.
We don't talk about that. It's just the way people are.
We're never going to fix it.
No more excuses.
No more silence.
No more violence.
It's time to end domestic violence and sexual assault once and for all.
Champaign Swarm and their business partners have made this season of professional basketball in the community a great success. The Swarm organization salutes outstanding local companies for their loyal support, like Hooters, the Leonard Recreation Center, Parkland College, and Star Limousines.
108-79, the River Sharks looking to put the final 2:51 that is left on the clock, trying to work that down to triple zeros and head on home before they get set for a Wednesday 7 o'clock game against the Gateway Steam. This is game 2 of our triple header today. The Flex are in control over the Chicago Force. Earlier today, we saw the Windy City Groove keep their slim playoff hopes alive with a 114-102 win over the Gateway Steam. Weaver gives up the basketball up top to Avery Smith. From distance, drops the triple. Look at those shiny baby blue shoes that Smith has on.
There must be something there. I think he's got 5 points now, though.
UNC blue. Oh, there's a little bump thrown out of bounds. Watch out. And
Coming your way, man.
Nobody touched it. It was too far out of my stretch there. I'm not.
You only have
a wit here.
Yeah, you only have a 2-foot active radius.
I mean, I've got T-Rex arms. Not getting to that. That's I guess not a double dribble. Somebody else must have touched it, knocked out of bounds. Yeah, I'd tell you what, Leak is saying the same thing. Not a double dribble. Whistles are in the pockets for the final 2:17. I mean, let's hope, right? Lobbed into Smith in the corner. He's going to step back and launch a triple over Harry Marshall and bury it again. All of a sudden, Champaign they can't miss from the floor.
A little too late, huh? $1 late, a day late and $1 short. That's what my 6th grade reading teacher used to say to me. Not sure what she meant.
She was talking about her paycheck. There's a launch from off balance, trying to get to the rim. Didn't draw it, but almost stolen away by McGowan going the other direction. And now Avery Smith, why not? She's going to launch another triple from the right wing and bury it.
Just had to make sure he can get into double digits.
My goodness.
Now he and McGowan just sparring a little bit.
Showing off his range, his shooting touch. He is a 34% shooter from three-point land. Now Hicks with the basketball. He's going to take it to the hoop himself, try to throw it up, and he draws the foul on Mark St. Fort with just under 90 seconds left in this one. Fifth personal foul on St. Fort. And that'll be James Hicks at the stripe to shoot a couple. So 7 o'clock at Center St. Louis, the River Sharks and a Gateway Steam in a contest that is going to have some playoff implications, to say the least. Steam still with a chance to get in. River Sharks control their own destiny as far as the top seed is concerned. They own the season series against the Flex 3-1. Next free throw, no good. The only chance for the Swarm to get that top seed, because the Swarm have the tiebreaker against Bloomington.
No, the Bloomington has the tiebreaker.
Bloomington has the tiebreaker,
They won
okay.
3 out of 4.
The Swarm don't have a chance at getting the top seed anymore.
No, with this loss, they are eliminated from first place contention.
Top seed contention, right?
Yeah.
Which means they're going to have a battle in store for them no matter who they play. And now we're just fouling out in space for no reason whatsoever, I guess, as Weaver picks it up. But they're going to have themselves a heck of a battle to get to the championship series, any way you look at it.
Yeah, I guess your money's probably on that they're going to be playing St. Louis.
Probably. You know what? I don't think so. I really think St. Louis is going to end up with a top seed. I don't think the Flex are going to lose again. I don't think St. Louis is going to lose again.
You're right. I think St. Louis is going to win this league. I forgot about the tiebreaker.
They play Gateway Wednesday, and if they have to, they'll play Gateway another time after that. I mean, hard to beat a team, 4 times in the same season, but quite a bit of gap between skill levels here. Talent on the floor, if you will. Although Gateway has gotten significantly better as the season has unfolded. And there's a step-back 3 ball from Smith. He missed it. Rebound pulled down. That's Hicks with it. Out of traffic. He had it. Now lost it. Rips it right back again. And now kicks it across the timeline near side to Terry Leak. 35 seconds left. Evans with the basketball just in front of the circle. There's 12 seconds left on the shot clock. And Evans just looked over at Leak and said, I might just shoot it from here. I think he will. 3, 2, 1. He's going to launch it. Missed it. Didn't draw the rim, so a shot clock violation with 17.2 left. Turn off the shot clock. Swarm are going to inbound it, and this game is over except for the final score.
Alfonso Ellis was baiting Evans, by the way, to shoot that from almost 45 feet.
Now Ellis with a shot from deep as well, rebounded by the River Sharks. They need to get it across the timeline in order to keep the clock running, and now a steal there by Avery Smith to the hoop. He goes, had it swatted away by Terry Evans. He'll walk across the timeline, and that's going to do it, folks. 111-90 as the River Sharks pick up win number 14, and the Champaign Swarm finish their season at 15-5.
Folks, don't forget we do have some action for you coming up right now.
No more, it's none of my business.
No more, he didn't mean it.
No more, not my problem.
No more, she was flirting with him.
No more, she was asking for it.
No more, boys will be boys.
No more, I'll say something next time.
No more bystanding.
No more ignorance.
No more excuses.
No more.
Back inside the Family Arena, final score today, the River Sharks improved to 14-4 with a 111-90 win over the Champaign Swarm, and one of the men, a huge responsibility for that today, Marcus Good, posting a double-double here today, and Marcus, 30 points, 10-plus rebounds. We'll get the official stats when we have them, but my friend, I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a game, and they relied on you a lot today. DeWitt in some early foul trouble. You really stepped it up. Tell me a little bit about the game down in the post, playing against the Champaign Swarm, and what the problems were that you had to deal with today.
I knew their guard game is pretty good, and I know their guards, they love to scramble a lot, but I just wanted to see how their bigs are. Their bigs are not that good like their guards are.
Right.
So I just wanted to take it to their bigs because I knew that our guards would have a lot of pressure on them, so I wanted to put pressure on their bigs.
I know you've been working a lot on your perimeter shooting. It's always been a good one. You've always had a good touch shot. But tonight, as opposed to any of the other games, I thought you really stepped out and nailed it. You hit that one from three-point land on the right wing early in the game, and then I saw you launch one later on in the game and missed it. You looked right over at Grushkin before you even had a chance. And that's the last one I'm taking. One I'm taking all game. But your shots from outside, 17, 15 feet, very, very good here tonight. Talk to me about what you've been working on in order to get that back into your game a bit as you progress throughout the course of the season, being a kind of a mid-season addition.
Well, I always could shoot a little bit, but a lot of coaches, they tell me, we really want you to post a lot, and we want you to use your body. But a lot of big places like the NBA, they love stretch forwards now and big men that can shoot it.
Not to mention over in Europe too.
Yeah, in Europe. Yeah, so I just try to keep the shot around. I don't just want to be one-dimensional.
Last question for you, River Sharks at 14-4. The Flex pick up a win here today. How much scoreboard watching are you guys doing as far as that top seed in the playoffs? Is there anything that you guys are keeping an eye on from a league standpoint, or is it more just focused on what we're trying to do on a day-in and day-out basis?
Yeah, we just focus on us, what we got to do. We know the Swarm and the Flex, they're with us, but we still focus on us. We focus on us, and as long as we do what we got to do, we'll win.
You guys like playing here at this arena?
Oh, we love it.
You
We
played the
love it.
Swarm twice here and smoked them twice. And
Yeah,
then
we
they
love it.
smoked you twice back up at their place.
We love it.
What do you like about
home,
this place
home
so much?
advantage, man. Home advantage it's just that feeling of having the home court advantage. You know?
Well, listen, Marcus, I appreciate you sitting down, chatting with us. Marcus good today, 31 points, 12 rebounds, a nice double-double. The leading scorer for the St. Louis River Sharks. Very man down today too, man. I mean, 8 guys dressed, and you see Evans go down early with a little injury. That was impressive that you all were able to do it with such a short bench as well. Did Al talk to you about that as well? How to conserve some energy?
Yeah, I mean, he said, we really only played 8 guys all year.
Right.
You know, so he said it's not new. It's not new. But actually, we had lesser guys than that. We had about 6 because we had a guy to go up to the NBA D League, and we had a lot of guys to go up actually.
Well, then you got Polk who couldn't make it out here today as well. It's guard as well against his pressing team.
Yeah, so he was like, we play 8 guys anyway, so this is not new to us. We play 8 guys, we dress 8 guys, so it ain't that new. Let's just go out there and do what we do every game.
Looking forward to a fun one on Wednesday night, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
That's Marcus Good, everybody, joining us here in the post-game show. We're going to close things up here in just a bit. We'll wrap it after this.
I am never getting married. Never. Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
Come over here.
We are never moving to the suburbs.
We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got, set them free at the break of dawn. Till one by one they were caught, floating in the summer sky. 99 red balloons go by.
Back inside the Family Arena, Jason Troop alongside my partner Scott Beatty. A final score tonight: the River Sharks up in the Champaign Swarm, 111-90, with the River Sharks essentially locking themselves into at least the 2, if not 1 seed in the postseason with that big win. We still got some other stuff to worry about. We'll chat about that down the road when we get to Wednesday, and there's some other games to be played, et cetera, et cetera. Let's look at this one. And you were first saying to me, obviously Marcus Good, fantastic game, 31 points, a dozen rebounds as well. One of 3 players in double-figure rebounds for the.
And he added 7 blocks as well. He's just he's a tremendous player, and he did it on 13 of 24 shooting, and they weren't all bunnies underneath. He hit some outside shots, which you talked with him about. He's a tremendous player. Still wondering why he's still here. Somebody's going to pick him up.
Yeah, well, he's been playing himself back into shape after being out of ball for a little while, and that's part of the reason I'm sure he is still here. That a big number right there. The rebounding total not skewed essentially big time between these two squads, 54 to 48. The rebounding totals between both of these two teams over the course of the night. But look at the field goal shooting for the Champaign Swarm, just shooting 31% for the game, 31% in the first half, 30% in the second half, 31% overall is not going to get it done, including 4 of 25. I didn't realize they launched up 19 three-pointers in the second half alone to the Champaign Swarm.
Yeah, and they only hit 4 three-pointers, and they were almost all from Avery Smith there at the end during jump time. The Swarm brought in Avery Smith in part to increase their outside presence. They're not hitting their shots from the outside, and the River Sharks said, hey, we'll shut down this part of the game, and if you're going to beat us from the outside, so be it. Swarm never even came close.
I think it was a defensive battle in that first quarter, really first quarter and a half or so. I mean, River Sharks were held to 38% shooting in the first half themselves, but they exploded to shoot 54% in the second half as well. 6 three-pointers hit in each half, 12 of 28 shooting from distance for St. Louis. It's going to be hard to beat a team that's shooting that well from behind the arc on any given night. Your final thoughts, partner, before we wrap this one up for the weekend?
Well, I've seen all these teams play all year long, and I think any one of them between St. Louis, Champaign, and St. Louis and Bloomington, I beg your pardon, could be the best team in the league. But right now, St. Louis is the best team in the league.
We will see what shapes up as far as home court advantage as well. That's going to play a big role in postseason a success. That's going to do it for the broadcast today. Thanks for stepping in for our partner, Alvin Washington. Best of health to you, Alvin, as I'm sure things will turn around for you here shortly. Big thanks to Alvin. Also, big thanks to Chris Phillips as well to our left, working the magic on the director of our TV broadcast. And again, my partner to my right is Scott Beatty. I'm Jason Troop signing off, repeating the final scores for the final time tonight. The Gateway Steam lose the early one to the Groove, 114-102, and the River Sharks improved to 14-4 with a 111-90 win over the Champaign Swarm. We'll talk at you more on a Wednesday night, everybody.